And welcome to the CIE. My name is Natural, and I'll be casting the games today with Boyce. Boyce, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be on a cast again. It's been a little while, and I'm more than happy to be casting this game, especially considering we're going to be casting my hometown university, Western, versus University of Toronto, Mississauga. It should be a really good game. I'm hoping, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, so to be clear, we have 3 games to cast today. All 3 of them are going to be best of ones. We're casting the round robin stage of this tournament. So the first game that we have, as you mentioned, is University of Toronto, Mississauga versus Western University. Our second game of the day is Dalhousie versus University of Alberta. And our third and final game is going to be McGill versus University of Guelph, which I think I pronounced somewhat right.
You got it.
Okay, great. Amazing. Yeah, so you mentioned that you thought that University of Toronto, Mississauga versus Western, the first game that we're going to be casting today, is going to be the most interesting game. Tell me a little bit more about it. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I've been like creeping the power rankings and like the CLOL bracket from last season, and I know that Western was kind of one of the early in the season they were ranked pretty low, and I know for the ECPS power rankings they actually shot up in about March to equal UTM. So these both teams were on pretty even standing at that point. I haven't seen any rankings since then other than the CLOL bracket, but noticeably missing from the bracket was UTM, and Western and St. Clair, I believe, were the only two schools, at least that I noticed, here in Ontario that would have made that CLOL bracket. So I'm hoping to see that these two teams are at least very close together and that we'll see some pretty close matchups.
Okay. Yeah. So it looks like we're going to be heading here into the introduction for the teams. So we have UTM, University of Toronto, Mississauga here. We've got Katarina Blue, Dan Xiao Gu, Min TV, Lover Suicide, and B is the full roster here. You've got their favorite characters on the screen. So you can see the Katarina Blue on the Camille, their jungler on the Mumu, mid laner with Malzahar, Lover Suicide on the Aphelios there, and the Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank enjoyers.
Woo! Rise up.
And now for Western as well, we have Haze. I hope I said that right. I'm sorry. Respite, Lovesick Candy, Travel, and Trunks. The mid Malphite favorite is I respect it. I respect it as an AP Malphite enjoyer. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see both of these teams. Some names I recognize from Western. Going to be really great to see them as we're just going to be waiting to see when we'll be able to get into drafts. But in the meantime, Natural, I'm curious if you've ever seen any of these teams play.
No, I have not. I have not seen any of these teams play. I also do not recognize really any of the names. I think the only times I've seen like some of these names are in solo queue, just from like watching other people play. But I have not seen any of these players play competitively. You mentioned the mid lane Malphite. Do you think they're actually going to pull it out this game?
I don't think so. I don't think that that's a very viable pick right now. Maybe I'm out of the loop. I haven't really played in a while.
It's
so
actually been
know.
a thing.
It's been a thing.
Yeah, it has actually been a thing. People have been playing First Strike Malphite with like Lich Bane and Malignance Rush in mid lane or top. It is absolutely disgusting. I hate it. I've played against it like multiple times in solo queue in the past few weeks, and as an AD carry main, not very fun. But I can see how the mid lane Malphite can be actually pretty fun for the player playing it. So it is a possibility that they actually pull it out. It is an actual thing. It's not like a troll pick or anything. It's just kind of a bit cheesy, maybe.
I haven't seen this. I gotta look at this after because I might be interested in this now.
Yeah, you're interested in playing
AP
Malphite
ARAM enjoyer. I might not mind that.
Yeah, no, it's actually completely viable. The Malignance obviously like makes your ult cooldown so much lower, and it gives you so much damage on it as well. And then Lich Bane makes it so that you don't actually need to one-shot someone with your ult. Because previously, like on the previous iterations of full AP Malphite, it was basically like you press R. If the carry is dead, good. If he's not dead, you lost. But now with Lich Bane, you can also just kind of like E auto attack, and it also does a bunch of damage. So it is an interesting variation there on the full AP Malphite. So we'll have to see if it comes out. Hopefully, yeah, as you said, we should be getting into draft sooner or later. Do you have any other particular predictions for this Western team? As I know you know them a little bit better than I do.
Not really. I actually haven't seen much of them. I've just kind of seen them in the power rankings from ECPS and like the CLOL hub. So I'm kind of just going off of paper. I have no idea what to expect in terms of actual results.
Okay.
All I have is just what's happened in the spring semesters and the fall semesters, which for all we know, we could be looking at some completely different teams coming into this little tournament right here.
Yeah, maybe. And it is very fun to expect the unexpected. And these best of ones, especially like a lot of these pocket picks, can be really, really interesting. As we are heading into draft, and we have Western here on the blue side, and UTM on the red side. Now, for bans, it looks like Draven is going to be the first ban. I assume most likely targeted. Draven is like a pretty strong AD carry, but he is usually very particular to the player playing it. So I'm assuming that UTM's AD carry is probably a Draven enjoyer, as on the red side, Talia will be banned.
Yeah, I mean, Western had Talia as their jungle favorite, so that's probably going to be targeted as well. Aatrox banned out, taking away the top picks for UTM. I'm not sure about like the actual pocket picks for any of these guys here, so I'm definitely curious to see if we get some more of those like targeted niche bans just to take stuff away from certain players.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested in that as well. One thing that interests me is that UTM's top laner is a Camille player. At least he seems to be one. So I'm looking out if Camille is going to be pulled out in this draft. But it looks like we're going to have Rel banned here on the western side. Rel jungle is not a thing anymore. It used to be a very powerful flex for jungle and support. It does not exist anymore. They nuked it out of existence. Jungle Rel is just not available anymore, so it's definitely, we know that it's a support ban here, as Skarner is going to be the ban for UTM, and Jinx as well. Skarner has been also like incredibly good in both jungle and support and top. He is pretty strong, so I'm glad to see him off the board here, as well as Jinx has been a power pick in the recent patches. Very hard scaling, as it looks like it's going to be the Kindred first pick for Western.
I like this. I like this. Kindred, lot of power to kind of just get those like mid-late game invades into the other jungle, and obviously it's a lot of damage that Kindred can be putting out at any point in the game if we can start to farm those marks very efficiently. As a first pick, I'm not currently up to date with the meta, so I'm not sure what their priority is going to be, but I like it.
It's pretty dangerous, and I'll tell you why. The reason is Kindred really depends on mid and top getting prio to be able to secure her first marks. So if UTM try to pick here some very strong lane prio picks, something like Tristana, for example, or in the top lane it could be a TF, very difficult. You can make the game very difficult for the Kindred by ensuring that your lanes have push, but it looks like UTM here are just going to answer with jungle support or jungle AD with Wukong Senna.
You know, I need to refresh myself because I know that Senna was in some of the recent patch notes. I don't actually remember what it was for the patch notes that changed. I'll have to refresh myself on that. But obviously, I look back to like the LCS of last split where Senna was every single game, and specifically almost this exact matchup of Senna into Kalista was something that we saw a lot in a lot of different regions at a lot of different levels of play. Kalista, very powerful farmer, and partnered with the Blitzcrank. We did see it was UTM's favorite for Blitzcrank, although not locked in, so that could definitely change if we want to get the mid lane pick way, another very powerful mage for the mid lane, with the QQ, QW, QE, 9 different abilities, all with different names you can't remember.
Yeah, I have not learned any of Quay's abilities. But yeah, so it looks like the Kalista Galio is actually going to be picked here. So as you mentioned, Senna has had a few couple changes. Essentially, they made Senna farming Senna viable again, and then immediately killed it. But Senna is essentially the same, champion that she was before. She's usually paired with a farming support these days. We haven't seen any farming Senna in like the past 2 patches, more or less. MSI I have not seen it at all. Senna is almost always paired with exactly Tahm Kench, Nautilus. Those are the most popular pairings. You want the Tahm Kench to farm, you want the Nautilus to farm, and that's usually what's happening. Now, the one thing that has changed about Senna is that previously, Senna was very much locked into the bot lane. But nowadays, Senna has actually been roaming for grubs at 6 minutes, and the Tahm Kench or the Nautilus that's farming is left in the bottom side of the map to farm. And the reason for that is because Tahm Kench and Nautilus are usually very difficult to dive, while Senna can roam for free and get a bunch of stacks.
Yeah.
So with that 3 core picked on the both sides here, we're getting onto the second list of bans. It looks like it's going to be Camille on the blue side and Hui Blitzcrank on the red side.
Yeah, Camille, that pocket pick you were saying for the top lane of UTM, you were interested to see if it would come in, and it is going to be banned out for the side of Western in this second round of bans. Blitzcrank and Wei, both of the hovers that were around the Galio, both gone. Not wanting to let either of those come through after, and Seraphine banned by Western. There must be a pocket pick here, like Sarah Mid or something for UTM, because that one confuses me a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm guessing it's a Seraphine mid kind of pocket pick situation. Otherwise, I'm not exactly sure what it would be. As Malzahar is going to be the pick here for UTM, which we mentioned before. It is like I think it's his favorite champion for Mint V.
It's another favorite for UTM, yeah.
Yeah. Malzahar is not a bad champion. He's just like very simple to pilot. So people kind of underestimate him a little bit usually. But he is not bad at all. He gets like auto push after I believe it's like level 9 or something like that, where he just automatically pushes the wave and there's nothing you can do about it. As Poppy here is going to be the pick for Western. Poppy is okay this game. You can like annoy Malzahar because obviously his W and his E is a dash, so you can cancel those, but it's not that effective into any of their other champions. So it must be, I think, like a comfort pick as well here for Western. As Western, it looks like they're still considering their mid laner. Galio is a mid support flex pick, but it does look like it's going to go support, as the Syndra is going to be locked in as the last pick for Western.
Syndra is not a champ I've seen a whole lot of, but when I have seen her, it's in my ranked games, and I disappear from 100 to 0 within half a second. So I'm interested to see how that one's going to go. And yeah, Malzahar is permanently cursed in my head because of the Cadro clip. Like the Cadro clip.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think, the only Malzahar clip I can remember in my head. And
yeah,
hovering Mord on the other side for UTM for the top into Poppy. Mord is a top laner I also don't see a lot of, except in my ranked games, where they're massive and running me down. But I'm not sure how I feel about the matchup into Poppy. I'm not sure how that interaction is going to be.
I believe pretty good. Mordekaiser just tends to do generally very well into the tankier top lane champs, which Poppy is definitely one of. Mordekaiser, essentially, as long as the fight goes for long enough and he can't get kited, he will win most melee matchups in the top lane. So Mordekaiser, very solid pick this game. On top of that, you do have to remember that Mordekaiser ultimate is no longer QSS-able. So you can no longer buy a QSS to dodge that. Now, a few interesting interactions here that the Malzahar has. Kalista into Malzahar, miserable. It is very, very difficult to actually beat Mordekaiser in his ult as Kalista, generally because he goes for a Rylai's and a Liandry's early on into the game, which permanently slow you, which make your auto attack slower, which means that you can't kite, which means that you instantly die. So very, very brutal for the Kalista. On top of that, the Kindred as well. If you're in Kindred ult and Mordekaiser yoinks you to Brazil while you're in the Kindred ultimate, that ultimate is gone. You die. So there are a few good interactions here that Mordekaiser does have. Now, a few things to mention though. UTM is fairly how can I say this? AP heavy. They do have like Malzahar and Mordekaiser, as well as Tom Kench, which are all like some fairly decent AP damage. And they have a Galio on the other side, Western, who is like a very, very decent anti-AP pick.
Yeah, for the if we can get Galio into those team fights outside of lane, where we're going to see a lot more interactions between those champs, whereas in the bot lane, it's going to be a lot of just like poke from the Senna and TK, where TK, the AP, will be impacted from the Galio. But I think in those team fights, the Galio front line will be able to sustain for a little bit longer, thanks to the MR.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. I think Western here, they want to play kind of a more skirmish heavy type of game. They want to get their Kindred into some skirmishes, get some stacks. They want their Kalista to move very early. They want their Galio ult to be used into the side lanes. While UTM, they have a little bit more of a scaling composition. I don't want to say too hard because there is a Syndra on the other side, but they do have a Senna that can stack pretty well, and the Mordekaiser does get outscaled. So I think the scaling part is kind of like even or whatever. But UTM will have a little bit more difficulty in these skirmishes, I think. But overall, I don't particularly have a preference for any of these drafts. I don't know if you think either draft is better.
Not really, no. I think I'm pretty split between the two. I think it's just going to have to come down to how they're played in game. Like you said, Western definitely wants to have a lot more skirmish heavy. But looking at the lanes as well, can this Syndra get very far ahead where they get to that point of they're throwing stuff at you and you just get absolutely nuked by the Syndra. If we can get ahead that far, really a lot of the champs on both sides, if they can get ahead, they can hold that lead very consistently. And I think that's what it's going to come down to, is just who can dominate that lane better, or if we can make it to that late game where it's just going to be 5v5 team fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited to see how this is going to work out. I generally just like giving out predictions just in case, because it's fun. It's not like I particularly think that either of these teams is particularly better than the other. But I'm going to go with my gut and say that UTM is actually going to win this game. I don't know about you. Do you have a prediction?
I might be biased because it's my hometown, but I am going to probably go Western, and then at least we have some competition. We're not both agreeing. Exactly. I'll say Western. No,
at least
bias
one
whatsoever.
of us is right. So
one of us will be right. We're just guaranteeing that. We're not going 0 for 2 today.
Yeah. We've got another 2 games after this anyway, so I'm sure that we'll get at least one prediction right. So yeah, I think with that, we do have like a few sponsors to shout out before the beginning of the game, so we might as well do that now. We've got BMO as the first sponsor for this tournament. Now, BMO, of course, is a bank, and to help you focus on what's important, BMO has checkings and savings accounts. They have credit cards and borrowing options that are specifically designed for students. And you can get up to 12 months of Domino's pizza for free. So that's pretty cool.
We all love pizza. We all love pizza.
I love pizza.
Especially when it's free.
Especially when it's free. With BMO's current student offers. You get no monthly plan fees while you're in school and for up to 1 year after you graduate, which is cool. Convenient branch locations close to home and campus, a little bit of transactions, including Interact e-transfer transactions, because we're in Canada, baby. None of that American transactions fees or anything like that. We got e-transfer here. And yeah, apparently they also have a Twitch channel that's live Thursday at 7 p.m. That is run by Sean Frame, BMO's first gaming relations specialist, that brings a commitment to helping clients achieve their financial goals and a passion for gaming as an active member of the gaming community. And if you wanted to shout out, tell us.
My Chrome may have crashed and I don't have the read for it. I'm
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Up. You got that?
I got it. Tell us. I've actually shouted out Tell Us many times before because UBC is sponsored by Tell Us, and I casted for UBCA quite a few times. Tell Us Arena is the best place for Canadian gamers to play, improve their skills through free coaching from the pros, or to compete to win thousands of dollars in prizes. So whether you're a casual gamer looking to learn or a pro gamer looking to win, because if you're casual, you don't want to play to win. There is a place for you at Tell Us Arena with monthly events across a variety of games and gamers. There is always something going on. Make sure to join the Tell Us Arena Discord to stay updated on all of their activities. There's also, the other thing is we do have, there is a, what is it called? A giveaway happening. It is only over on the first channel for the CIE Twitch channel. So it's CIE, whatever the rest of the channel
Canadian
is.
Intercollegiate X would be the link for that one. Mm-hmm. And it is just exclamation mark CIE 2024 to go join the giveaway on that. And I believe they said they're rolling it after the tournament's concluding. Can't remember if that is correct, but you will have to enter on that mainstream. Head over there, go pop in, just enter it in the chat. You can come right back or watch the game. That's also going to be live over there because there will be another game going on for this same tournament at the same time, obviously with 2 streams running together.
I do believe it's Overwatch on the main.
I think it's Overwatch third place and finals today on that stream.
So if you're more interested in League than Overwatch, but you still want to participate in the giveaway, go into their chat, type in exclamation giveaway, and then come back here. That's essentially what's going on here. As hopefully we should be getting into game soon. We do have like 3 minutes of spec delay, of course, as usual.
I believe if my watch is correct, we're down to about a minute left until we're just getting into the game, so we're just waiting for a little bit longer.
Amazing. So I want to focus here on one thing, and that's I think the win conditions for either team. So Western here, they have a very early game focused bot lane, right? Kalista Galio, you win extremely hard in lane, especially into Tahm Senna. You can pressure the lane very easily, get prio on like the first 3 waves. You can do pretty much whatever you want. So I think the way that Western want to play this game is most likely going to be through bot mid. Syndra can also get prio against Malzahar, I assume, in the first few levels. I'm not exactly sure. This is something that, LS would know extremely well, I'm sure. But unfortunately, I am not His Majesty Last Shadow. But I assume that Syndra should be able to get Prio into those lanes, so I'm thinking that Western most likely want to be playing for the Kindred, thanks to the Prio that they should be able to get through bot mid. While on the other side, UTM, I think they kind of just want to weather the storm, wait for their Senna to stack a little bit, maybe play towards their top side with an extremely hard-winning matchup that Mordekaiser Puppey should be. One interaction that I'm not exactly sure how it works is Mordekaiser versus Poppy ult. If Poppy ults Mordekaiser while they're in his ultimate, does the ult just cancel?
Or would it just get stuck against the wall? I've actually never seen that happen. You have a good point. I don't know if that would hard lock Mordekaiser in.
I'm not sure, but we might be able to find out as we are getting into game. These graphics are so sick, by the way. And it looks like we're getting a level 1 invade here by Western. They're going to be invading through the top tri-bush. They will be spotted out by a Katarina Blue here on the Mordekaiser. There are like a bunch of pings you can see down on the bottom right side of the minimap that they kind of sniffed it out already. So they do know that they're here, and they are standing on top of a ward right now. They're waiting for their Senna to come here to actually fight level 1. As Katarina Blue is a little bit caught out by Trunks' W there. He's going to take just a little bit of chunk of damage. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of this play, the Poppy is in a 1v2 situation. She's going to get stunned by the Tongue Lash, actually. Yeah, she's just dead. It's going to be first blood for UTM.
Yeah, that turned into a 5v4 as Kindred actually backed when they got spotted by that ward, and we have a game pause immediately following.
The dreaded game pause. Well, paused. So hopefully the first blood isn't because of like a technical issue, because that could mean that if both teams agreed, they could remake the game. So hopefully that won't happen. It looks like we had a DC. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense. I was going to say, why did I was mentioning the Kindred backed right before that fight happened. I was going to say, where did Kindred just go? That turned into a 5v4 very quickly. But yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. We're going to have to see what we can, what's going to happen about that after the jungle DC'd. I don't know if they can. I don't know what we would do in that situation if they can bring it, if they would remake or not. I don't think so, but I'm not quite certain, to be honest.
Yeah, I believe the tournament rules indicate that if there is already a okay, we're back in the game.
Nope, we're back in.
We don't have to wonder about it whatsoever.
We have our answer.
We have our answer, exactly. Yeah, that's a little bit of a stutter because of the pause. I believe you can maybe should be able to fix it by pausing and unpausing. Maybe.
Pause champ.
Nope. Okay. Yeah, it's just the League client.
We love the League client, don't we?
It happens,
it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. No issues. This patch is great for it.
Mm-hmm. It hasn't been bugged for like 10 patches in a row, so don't even worry about it. But it looks like we are able to get back into it. No worries here. Okay, so this is obviously not a great start for UTM or for Western. The good news is that Katarina Blue did blow his flash here onto the level 1 as we have a lane swap, and I can't believe it. I didn't even mention this because I didn't think that teams would pull it out in this tournament, but MSI has been lane swap central. And this all started because of G2 bringing back the lane swaps in kind of the later part of the LEC tournament. And now everyone is doing it. And I cannot believe this, but Western are doing a lane swap. As you can see, Hazy here is in danger. The W has been leveled up level 1 here by Dansha Gao. So he should be fine. Now, the important thing to note about lane swaps is that it all depends on who can take plates faster and whose top laner is more diveable. So far, I do think that Kalista Galio should be able to take plates slightly faster. But remember that the top lane turret is tankier. So it is a little bit of a contest there. Now, Heise has no flash. Katarina Blue has no flash and no TP. And on top of that, Respite on the Kindred is coming for him on the top dive here. So we'll have to see on the top side if this dive is actually affected. Under the top turret, he has been marked. So this is also one mark. The shield is pretty big here. Respite is going to take aggro, and he's just going to die. Okay, so the turret aggro there, the turret juggling was not good. to say the least, and Respite is actually going to die for that. And meanwhile, on the other hand of side of the map, Heisek here is level 2. This is a very big wave. Let's see if the Puppy is able to survive this one. The W is going to be used by Dan Xiaogao. He is going to be rooted under the turret. The Abyssal Void is going to do some damage. Dan Xiaogao, he can't tank the turret anymore, but it will be a B on the Tahm Kench that takes the kill.
That's 3 very, very early kills for UTM, and it's very lucky for Katarina Blue that they managed to outlive the dive, especially with the TP burned. I actually don't know where the TP was burned this early, as there wasn't like a back that happened. I must have missed where the TP was used there, but they're very lucky to be able to live through that. And then right after that dive, UTM is going to show exactly how to execute those dives under the tower, and under the tower again is Trunks pulled back under by the Mordekaiser, and it's another kill for the top laner of UTM.
It's an absolute disaster. If I'm on Western right now, I am so mad. Yeah, that's really, really bad. I mean, as you can see, the gold lead is already almost 1.5k gold, almost 2 entire 1,000 gold here for UTM, which is, I mean, it's an absolute disaster for the game. So I think what happened is that the Katarina Blue actually got cheesed level 1. He didn't expect the lane swap, and he just walked into a bush, and the Galio W'd him, something along those lines, and he lost his flash to it. He was too low, had to back TP, and then came back to lane. But yeah, as you mentioned, the dive was really, really bad. It wasn't correctly executed. It looks like they're going to be going for another dive here, but the wave is really thin.
The thin wave.
It's a very thin wave, and Respite is only level 3. The teleport is going to come through, and yeah, Western just have to call it off. And this is not going to be good for Western. Once again, they're trying to force these top lane plays because they know that they kind of have to at this point. They're already at such a big gold deficit, and meanwhile, on the other hand side, this Poppy is just going to get, destroyed more and more. But this is not going well so far.
Yeah, Western pulling out the lane swap for the top lane has not paid off for them so far.
Oh, no,
and with Wukong walking up as well, manages to flash away from Katarina, but that's not Katarina. I just said the wrong name, but flashes away. It doesn't matter. Wukong will finish it, and it's another kill to the side of UTM. Already, we are at 5.5 minutes, and there's a 2.2k gold lead on the side of UTM. This is getting out of hand very fast for Western.
It is an absolute disaster. So usually when these lane swaps happen, what generally happens is that the jungler will play towards the side that has more players, which is like a very, it's a pretty obvious statement. But in this case, Katarina Blue is so strong and Travel and Trunks are so weak that he can just like walk up to them 1v2. And Travel and Trunks at first are like, well, this guy is just trolling. But in reality, Lover's Suicide is there on the Wukong. Meanwhile, okay, they might be looking for a play into the mid lane here. Lovesick Candy is going to have to lose his flash. And so they just lose that 2v2 straight up. So Katarina Blue gets an assist here. Lover's Suicide gets a kill. And meanwhile, it looks like at this point, Western are just like, okay, the lane swap isn't working. We might as well go back to some more traditional lanes. But it looks like UTM will actually just rotate their bot lane again. So we end up like in another kind of lane swap matchup here, which is honestly a smart move because Mordekaiser can definitely 1v2 their bot lane at this point. So I definitely do not disagree with it. Respite, he will be able to secure the first dragon though. So that's, silver lining there for Respite.
Yeah, the coincidental lane swaps at the exact same time because the Senna's roaming up for grubs like we were talking about in draft to get the extra souls. It's bad timing for Western, who just rotated their bot lane back down to try to get the intended matchup, and now UTM sent their bot lane up top lane to try to keep these advantages in the hands of the Mordekaiser, which realistically is just a beast of this 1v2 so far, and there's nothing that this bot lane is able to do.
Yeah. It's just not possible at this point to dive the Mordekaiser, especially since he has that ult unlocked. Lover's Suicide will be contesting this blue buff here, though. Let's see who he goes to. And it's actually going to be going towards the Kindred. Lover's Respite, though, he might be able to fancy his chances in the 1v1. He is a level down, which means that Respite here is going to be able to take more damage, but the top lane moves first. And on top of that, it looks like the suppress there, Lovesick Candy, is going to get sucked, and he is going to go down. Lover's Suicide takes another kill, and it is 7-0 for UTM.
Yeah, very well played from UTM. The Tahm Kench gets into the bush, out of vision. Kindred does not see the Abyssal Dive come in, and it's a perfect stun to finish off the Kindred. And then as well, Malzahar coming up from mid lane locks down the, I forget who it was, locks one down, and the pick Again, 7 kills for UTM, and I really, at this point, we're so early into the game, but the leads are not even on just
Oh,
one
no!
champ. It's across the board, and
The
that's an
Poppy got
interaction I've
swallowed!
never seen before. I did not know you could knock yourself back with a Poppy ultimate. That is hilarious, and the Abyssal Dive tried to lock down this Poppy, manages to dodge out both. There is a blast cone to get out, but he's going straight into the Malzahar.
It's
There
gonna
is
take a bit of
really no way
time,
out for Poppy.
but Poppy is absolutely dead there. As you said, insane interaction there. Yeah, OB swallowed the Poppy at the same exact time that he got knocked up by the ultimate, which means that he just kind of like self-yoinked himself across the map, which is a hilarious interaction. And very unfortunate because, I mean, obviously if Heise just like knocks away the TK there, she just survives. But that's not what's going to happen. Western is not going to be able to survive that, and I don't think they're going to be able to survive any plays from this point on, as the gold lead is doing nothing but ballooning. It is now, yeah, almost, you know, a casual like 6,000 gold.
Almost 4K right now, and we are not even at 10 minutes. I'm trying to come up with something of like, what is the way for Western to get back in? I can't think of anything right now because, like I was saying before that interaction happened, it's not even like it's the lead on one champ. It's across the board. Literally everybody on UTM has chipped in, and this gold lead is just exploding in every single lane.
Yeah, not 6,000 gold, 4,000 gold, as you accurately said. My math is, just don't make casters like do math on stream ever. Like it's just it's just never a good idea. But that's my own fault. Anyways, yeah, as you said, the gold lead at this point is definitely ballooning. And as we mentioned earlier, right, like the Senna TK is going to be way more useful than the Callista Galio later on in the game, as the Poppy is going to be made a play on here. Should be okay. Nope, never mind. She doesn't have flash, she doesn't have ult, she got swallowed. They're gonna walk her down right into the W. That's a nice E though, and she should be able to survive from this play. Maybe not. No, an Abyssal Voyage is gonna come in. Another tongue lick maybe, just for good measure. Q, and she goes down. Well played there by UTM, but honestly at this point it's kind of like a walk in the park. Meanwhile on the bot side we do have that 2v1 happening from the Mordekaiser. Travel though, he has been kiting pretty effectively. Remember, there isn't a rallies on this Mordekaiser so far. Travel here, he's doing some nice hops, and that's going to be a shutdown for the Callista.
A great shutdown from Western. I actually thought the Mordekaiser was just going to be able to walk down on onto Travel, and well kited by Travel to get away from the Mordekaiser and finish that off. The execute from the Q, and it is a shutdown. First kill of the game for Western, at least goes into the right hands.
We're on the board, baby! Woo! Western are going to be happy with that one, but yeah, as you mentioned, you know, it is a good thing, but it is still very, very tough game. I think the biggest difference there is that Mordekaiser, to be able to 1v1 this Callista, really, really needs the rallies. The slow makes the entire difference. Because if you don't have the slow, then the Callistas can actually just dodge all of your spells, stack the spears, press E, and you do eventually die. As it looks like Trunks and Travel here are going to be going for another cheese in the bush. You would expect generally bot lanes to recall on the cannon mean. That's why they're going for this play, as he's going to get taunted. I don't know if they actually want to go for the full kill here. Yes, they will. They're going to be using the ult here, the flash as well for Travel, and he's going to die. It is a good kill, but it is also a lot expanded. The flash and the ultimate from the Callista has been used. So we'll have to see if they're able to punish that. And meanwhile, Western will also be able to take the second dragon of the game.
Yeah, it's a lot used for Western, but I think at this point they need to be using it just to be able to get these kills. We saw how hard it was in the first 1v2. It's well done to stay in the bush and bait the Mordekaiser in, and well executed with the ultimate to throw the Galio right back at the Mordekaiser to keep them stunned. It was well executed, but like you said, it's a lot to be used. Hopefully we'll be able to not have to contest into the 5v5s where those summoner spells and the ultimate is going to be a lot more important in these big fights. And Trunks is burning down under the tower. The Leandries will take the kill for Mordekaiser. Missed what happened there, but underneath the tower is still not safe, even with Lover Suicide behind. They are not needed.
No clue what happened there. As Respite here, he's trying to get a punish onto Mint TV, but he doesn't know that Lover Suicide is there, and he's going to be taking a big chunk of damage. You have to be careful. Lover Suicide has flash. He's just going to use the W, the E, and you're dead. The ultimate has been expanded as well, but now This travel that might be under danger here, but there is no wave, so he should be okay. He's just going to walk back to his tier 2 turret. But as you said, I'm not sure what Trunks was trying to do there. His 80 carry was recalled. Lower side there is just going to get a little bit punished by the Callisto, but I don't think he should die. He can just W over the wall. My guess is that Trunks wanted to hold the wave for travel. But that's just not going to work against a Mordekaiser. He's just going to press E on you, and you're going to take a big chunk of damage. So yeah, that was a little bit interesting. UTM now 9 kills up, but still the gold lead has not ballooned that significantly, which is a good thing. Mostly because of the CS has been more or less even, and we've gotten a few shutdowns going over to travel. As Respect here, he's going to take his chances on the 1v1. He has his ultimate, and Wukong does not. He knows that, so he's going to be taking this crab for himself. It is not his mark though, but Kindred's still only 1 mark at 14 minutes.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the cooldowns to try to figure out what happened to the Galio. But before we can get into that, it's a 2v2 in the bot lane. It might be enough damage, not enough onto Dan Xiaogu, able to get away with the speed boost of the W. Almost very well played from Western, but UTM manages to get away by the skin of their teeth. Very, very close. The Callista's finally starting to put out a lot more damage with the Bort completed. And I realized Trunks was probably flash ulted by the Malzahar, because I looked and Malzahar ult was on cooldown. I'm guessing that's what happened and where all the damage came from. But that makes a bit more sense for the earlier bot lane play.
Could be possible. As, yeah, there on the bot lane play, the 2v2, Dan Xiaogu did have an item in base. He had a lot of gold in his inventory there right before the fight. Meanwhile, Travel had his Bork already unlocked, so they were able to take that 2v2 and punish them. Unfortunately, they do not get the kill, as you mentioned. Both sums burned there, which is a nice thing, but they won't be able to get the kill, which is crucial for the Callisto. She really wants to accelerate herself as much as possible in this game, which is still very difficult. Now, the silver lining for Western is that they do have 2 dragons, which does 2 things. One, a potential soul. Now, I'm guessing that UTM will most likely fight for this next dragon. Generally, you do not want to give away 3 dragons in a row, because then that unlocks so much pressure for you, because you do have that kind of dragon soul pressure where you're able to trade any dragon for a Baron, but it also buys you time. In this game, not necessarily that much good time, because the Senna will also be scaling. Anyways, it looks like we might be having a 3v3 play here. They know that the Senna doesn't have any sums, so they're trying to get onto her, but they don't manage to connect onto the engage. The Callisto ultimate is going to be used, and the play should be stopped there. It's 3v3 in the bot lane still. That's all that she wrote.
Yep, the ultimate is the great safeguard just for, having Galio on that front line. They can tank as much as possible till they need to get the hell out, and Callisto presses a button and you're completely safe. Western definitely wants to take those skirmishes since they're able to get out pretty easily, and overall it does mean that they're able to safely collect the cannon wave before they just leave, let it crash into the tower of the Senna TK, and Western's going to go back out, reset. Callisto and Galio look like they're roaming back towards the top lane. I'm interested that they still want this matchup, but looks like in either top or bot lane with the Mordekaiser, despite the fact that it went so poorly in the beginning of the game.
That's interesting. I think the reason for that is actually for the Kindred mark. I might be wrong, but they are pinging it a lot. So I'm assuming that they actually really want to secure that second Kindred mark. Also to note that they did get a shutdown in the mid lane there. We didn't actually get to see what happened, but I do believe it was some kind of like 1v1 play with the Syndra there, which is extremely good. They are now stabilizing the gold lead, coming back a little bit. They get another Kindred mark, a shutdown for their Kindred, and on top of that, they do get the Rift Herald. So the game state is still very much in UTM's favor, but they have stabilized and they have like almost diminished a little bit the gold lead that UTM did have. Their Kindred is on 2 marks. Now, the critical state usually for Kindred is 4 marks. You really want to get to 4 marks before the game is decided, and 2 marks is, only halfway there. So she will have to be a little bit more proactive on the map to try and find some of these other plays. And I've seen this movie before. There is no wave under this turret. Mordekaiser has his ultimate. It's just going to be the Rift Herald used. Are they actually going to go for the dive, or are we just going for the turret, Western? Guys got to decide. And they are sacrificing the 3rd dragon for this. Okay, the Rift Herald is going to go down. Turret is also going to be taken down low. Travel actually seems to want it. Yeah, they're going to be able to take down the turret. Now Katarina Blue, he's looking for an ultimate. He wants to get into a 1v1 as soon as possible. He's going to be able to find Respite, but Respite still has the ultimate. Is he going to use it in the Mordekaiser realm? Yes, he will. So he will be able to survive for just a little bit longer. He's going to flash out for good measure. Travel goes on a killing spree, and Western take another kill.
Well done by Western, just managing to tank enough of the tower to take it down. And with that, Catarina Blue has no safety. And speaking of safety, ulted under the tower, just out of range is the Mordekaiser. No turret shots necessary to tank, locked up underneath, and the turret taken in response with a kill from UTM.
Now, good news is for Western is that they actually trade tier 2s in the top side. I do believe it's mostly because they still had that Herald active that they were able to take another tier 2. Tier 2 for tier 2, you got a kill onto your Kalista. When you're this much gold down, you will take it. On top of that, it's the Poppy that loses a bunch of gold. Meanwhile, your Kalista is doing just fine. So Western will be completely okay with this trade, even though it looks a little bit weird that you're like just completely okay with the Senna getting a tier 2 bot lane. It looks like Respite is looking for a play here, but he is on a ward. A teleport is going to be used onto that pink ward. Down Shagao, he does have his flash unlocked in just a little bit. Meanwhile, I believe that's double teleports actually from the red side. Respite is going to be looking for a Galio ult. He finds only the Mordekaiser. The Mordekaiser doesn't have his ultimate, but he is going to be swallowed. Trunks, okay, he's going to be pushed back by the Poppy ultimate, but meanwhile, the Lamb does not have the Respite, so he's going to die instantly. The Kalista ultimate has been used as well. The flash Wukong ult is a double kill for the Wukong already. He is going to be taken down, though. Down Shagu, though, he's completely untouched. He's full HP. So much damage from the Senna. The Kalista is the only one left alive, and it's a 1v4 scenario, so there's nothing for her to do here.
That Wukong is so scary at this point, sitting 5-1 after the death. They were unkilled before that. They had so much damage with the flash ult. The engage was perfect for UTM. Just manages to turn off of Western, and Wukong coming in on the backline does dropping that Kindred early, who went down very low after the Senna ult, was the big key piece in being able to stay alive. A lot of damage is still coming from the Kindred, and without that key piece, it was UTM's to win.
Yeah, and this is where the game actually kind of breaks open a little bit. Before, you know, we kind of had like a head-to-head. UTM was ahead, but Western kind of stabilized. It didn't balloon that much. But now the gold lead did expand quite a little bit. The good news for Western is that there are no objectives on the map for UTM to take off the back of that play. The only objective they actually got was mid-tier 1, which is good, but it's not that important. The bad news is that if we could hover over the Senna right now, I'm assuming that she's like over at 80 stacks minimum. Oh yeah, 96. So this Senna is a problem. Once she gets to 2 items and like 120 stacks, which should be under like 3 minutes, she is going to be locked and ready, and she still has her sums to be able to fight for a Baron, a Dragon, or anything that UTM want. So in these next team fights, keep your eyes on the Senna because she will be outputting so much damage in these fights.
Yeah, there's a lot. The difference is between these two teams right now, well, the gold lead did get blown back open after the stabilization from Western. Western really only has one critical threat for UTM to deal with, whereas on the side of UTM, every single person is a threat. The win condition is still there for Western if Kalista can manage to pop off, but UTM has so many more different win conditions that even if they lose one early in a fight, there are still 4 very beefy and very strong members that they're going to have to cut through.
It is so hard for Kalista to play this game. I tell you this as a Kalista player, it's going to be really tough. You have Wukong that can jump onto you and ult you, and there's not much that you can do about it. You do have some good peel. That's the good news. You've got Galio and Poppy as bodyguards, which are excellent bodyguards. But you also have a Senna that can slow you down with her Q, root you with your W. You'll also have a TK that once he gets on top of you, it's just completely over. He licks you once, you're slowed, you're dead. The Malzahar, obviously, if he ults you, you're just dead. Anyways, the point is, there are a lot of threats for this Kalista to deal with, and as you said, she's kind of the only threat. The Syndra is going to be doing some damage and stacking, but will it be actually enough to carry these teamfights? I don't think so. They're going to be looking for a fast play off this Malzahar. The ult is going to be used, though. Trunks, a little bit of a lag here on my stream, but he is going to go down. Down Shagu is on Rampage. But, oh no, the Kindred ult was actually used to try and save him, but it's way too late. Respite is on the run now. A B is looking for the follow-up. He's going to find the Q, he's going to find the Swallow, and Respite is just dead. With the jungler down, UTM should be looking for Baron.
Yeah, I think maybe Trunks was hoping to get a Kalista ult out there, but I don't think Kalista was in range to pull him back in. It looked very similar to when they were in the bot lane, making that play, letting Galio tank, and then pulling him out. But unfortunately, not able to pop the ultimate in time, and Galio dropping early. That's the big key front line and the start for Western, and it was well played by the Malzahar to flash away and immediately get the suppression from the ultimate, and it's a very easy cleanup for UTM, as now they will force the Baron, take Baron, and now this is where it's going to be even harder, and I feel like we keep saying this, but the game just got a lot harder for Western to close out.
They're looking for the Dragon in exchange for the Baron, but UTM is here. They know that they wanted to trade this. So we're going to be trying to look for the counterplay here. A lot of the players haven't even recalled for their items, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be looking for the fight anyways. The Galio ult is okay. Halsey is already down so low, though. Travel has to use his ultimate as well to save his support. The Poppy is most likely dead. Lovesick Candy is going to get transported to Brazil. 1v1. I don't know if this is going to be effective, though. Yes, it will. The E pullback, Malzahar ult, everything at the kitchen sink has been thrown at Western, and there's nothing left for them to do. It's Dragon, it's Baron, it's almost the ace, and UTM will be looking to end the game soon.
Yeah, this is looking like it might be it with the Baron push as well. I don't even think Western's going to really be able to contest much of this siege. They're already going to be taking the bot tier 3, clearing out this mid wave, looking for mid as well. Inhibitor is going to be taken at the very least. The rest of the team for Western will be up before they're able to really siege Nexus here. But even if they are up, these fights for UTM, it's so hard for Western to really come back into this at this point. It's kind of just formalities waiting for UTM to get these fights.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always tough when you're expecting a banger, something a little bit more even, something a little bit more long, but unfortunately, this is not a banger. It's most likely going to be the end of the game here very soon. There are a few things that were pretty unlucky for Western in this game. The fact that it's a Cloud Soul is really bad because they did manage to get like 2 of the first dragons, but it's a Cloud Soul. Even if you do get the soul, which they did not, it's not that useful on any of your champions. It's really not that interesting. But either way, I think even if they did get like another soul, they wouldn't have been able to get it and so on. So it's kind of like, you know, retrospect Andy here. But regardless, it looks like UTM here, they'll be looking for the top turrets, which is pretty smart. You can send one of your players mid if you want to pressure the inhibitor, but otherwise there is so much standing gold here for UTM to take still on this top lane. That they can just walk up, travel, can't do anything about it. Katarina Blue could proto belt, yeah, stat check you. Lover Suicide is actually going to be looking for the all-in here. The Senna ult is going to do so much damage. Travel lives with 1 HP, and he doesn't. Lover Suicide is going to be able to take that kill, take the tier 1. They do use the Senna and the Wukong ultimate for it, but it does not matter.
Yeah, what they're using at this point, I don't think it's really going to matter for the grand scheme of things. They can use everything for all they want. It looks like now might be the time that they want to do it, as Western fighting underneath their own tower. The Kindred ultimate popped as well. There's really no way out. Everybody is here. Jungle plays safe, and it's not enough under here tier 2. Both will drop, and it looks like the formalities have finally come to a close.
Pretty much. Yeah, the papers have been signed. They've been sent. You have been served is what UTM is saying. There is no running out of this one. Yeah, 3 players of Western are alive. They might be looking for a fight here still. Defend the Nexus at all costs. It's not over before I say it's over, as UTM are knocking on the door. Oh, that's a nice stun, though. Down Shagao, and he's going to get swallowed by the Town Catch. He's going to be saved. The President has been protected, and it's triple inhib here for UTM. So again, we've been saying this for a little bit of time, but, you know, we can reiterate it once more. The game is over. More or less. Coming back from this game would be nothing short of a miracle. And Western are praying, but I don't know if that's going to come to fruition.
Yeah, it's enough of a miracle that I couldn't tell you how it has to happen. I genuinely would have no clue how it would have to happen. Unless all 5 members of UTM disconnect within the next 30 seconds, I don't see a way for Western to win this game at this point.
Yeah, I'll tell you how it happens. Down Shagao goes, guys, I swear I 1v5 pentakilled them. And then he walks straight under their Nexus turrets, dies. And then Katarina Blue goes, guys, I swear I 1v5 pentakill this. Then walks in, and so on. For like, do that like at least 2-3 times. And then you could actually lose the game. But
they could probably do it once and still win the game.
Oh, yeah, no, of course, absolutely. I'm saying like minimum to be able to like actually even the playing field here. So yeah, it's you know, most likely not going to be able to happen here. But you know, I respect Western for trying at the very least. You know, you can be it can be as doomed as you want, but you're still going to defend those Nexus turrets. AZAP mentality for those, if you know, you know. Never FF, never surrender, defend those Nexus turrets until you die, and UTM are going to be looking to kill them. They're going to be looking for the Poppy Ultimate is actually going to be used here, so now it's a 4v5, but only for a short amount of time. The Mordekaiser not being there doesn't necessarily make UTM much weaker as Trunks. He's going to be looking for the engage, but not going to be able to find it. It's a nice route, but it's not going to be that much damage. There's no follow-up. There's so many cannon minions, so little damage on Western, so many HP bars on the side of UTM. Everything is going to be used. Nothing is going to be saved. UTM will be able to take down Western in this best of one.
Yeah, disastrous early game for Western. Unfortunately, just too much to come back from. UTM does well to balloon the lead early into the game, while Western did have a little bit of a moment there with the Callista starting to have some action in the lane swaps against the Mordekaiser. At the end of the day, it's not enough to have that one lane when everybody on UTM seemed to show up today.
Yeah, I mean, the early game was just such a disaster for Western. I feel kind of bad because these games have to feel horrible to play out, especially in a best of one, when you know where, you know, you lose this game and it is a round robin. So this isn't an elimination game for them, but it does mean that they have, I believe that they have to win their next two games to be qualified into the top 8. Not exactly sure. Don't take my word for it. But it is like a bitty big punish here, and it feels really bad because like in these best of ones, these early games matter so much, especially when you're playing comp that's revolving around a Kindred Callista. If you don't get that early game advantage, those stacks on the Kindred early on into the game just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, it's so hard in these best of one formats where one bad early game is not like, oh well, we made a mistake, let's not do it next game, because there is no next game until you're playing a different team where you could be facing something completely different. And unfortunately, when it comes down to this format, that's just how it is. Those little mistakes will add up very quickly, and unfortunately, it went the way of UTM today, capitalizing on the mistakes of Western. Now, I believe we will just be waiting a little bit of time until we get back into our next game, which should be Dalhousie versus UAlberta. We should be getting that in about 5 minutes, I believe. Be sure to stay tuned as we come into game 2. We'll be back in a little bit.
And welcome back to our second game of the day. It is going to be Dalhousie versus Alberta. Lucky for us, because our first game took a little bit longer, we are going to get just straight into draft onto this one, which I'm very excited about. So as you can see, we do have Dalhousie on the blue side and Alberta on the red side. We don't, we'll get like the introduction for the teams in just after this draft, since they did want to start. We're going to be looking for a Karma band here, it looks like, for Dalhousie on blue. So I don't know anything about these two teams, I'll be honest. I don't know if you do, but I have no clue what to expect.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't get to see the kind of like favorite pocket picks coming from either team until after draft, so we'll have to see like who gets their favorite after. And these bans, we'll have to see which ones ended up being really targeted. And so far, as you said, Karma and Aatrox, as well as Cassante, banned out for Dalhousie with Ragus Belveth, and we'll have to see who the third one is. So far, a lot of top and jungle prio for both teams.
So I actually looked.
We didn't really see last game.
Yeah, I think a lot of these characters are, team dependent. I actually took a look at the sheet, and it looks like, okay, well, for Dalhousie at least, they just all listed their favorite character as Shaco, which is an obvious troll.
Respect.
Which I guess fine, I'll keep your secrets, I guess. And it's actually going to be the Skarner first pick here for Dalhousie. So Skarner, the rework is in. It hasn't been enabled at any, international or competitive tournament so far. So we actually haven't seen the reworked Skarner in any of the new leagues. But he is pretty strong, from what we've seen in solo queue. He is strong. He can be played into either support with Comet, and you play like a poke engage champ. You can play him jungle. You can play him top lane. He's a flex pick. He's very strong. Anyways, point being, Alberta are going to answer with Volibear Yone.
The Yone pick, very, very strong if they can manage to get ahead. And obviously, I know the meme's more like the Yasuo O10 power spike, but Yone can kind of still do the same. We're kind of meme about the O10, but still very strong in the right hands. Looking possibly to go into a matchup with the Akali being hovered by Dalhousie. Have to see if that gets locked in, which I assume it will, and yes, it will. So the most likely matchup was probably going to be the Akali Yone. Yone can go top, Volley can go top or jungle. I haven't really seen where Volley's been going recently. Perhaps you'd know a bit more about that. I mean, jungle mostly.
Yeah.
So we could see that in a top matchup, technically both ways. I mean, you can I guess, sometimes throw Akali top as well. Varus locked in for the bot lane of Dalhousie. Strong ADC, either both poke or like just full on hit, anything like that. Lots of variety we can see through the Varus, and we'll have to see what Alberta wants to respond with.
Yeah, if I'm Alberta right now, I would probably look for AD carry as well, and it looks like they agree with me. Lucian is a completely fine matchup with Varus. It really is very support dependent though, which is what I like less about this. If I'm Dalhousie here, I'm banning Nami and Milio. Those are the most strong pairings by far for the Lucian. And Lucian without those two champions is like very just not as good. Realistically speaking, he's just really not that good. There are other supports that you can pair with it. Sona is fine. Yuumi is playable, but it's not nearly as strong. Yeah, they're going to agree with me. As Alberta here are instead going to ban the Blitzcrank, which is interesting because I don't think Blitzcrank is that good into Lucian either way. But anyways, Dalhousie here, yeah, as you said, they do have the Skarner. The Akali is most likely going to be going mid. We haven't seen Akali top in a very, very long time. Yone, same thing. It is possible for him to go top, but most of the time he is going to be going mid. As Camille is going to be maybe the last ban here for Alberta. So interesting there. Maybe they're just trying to be like, okay, we really don't want Lucian to get like one shot by Camille. And yeah, Dalhousie, as Lucian
Nami
Milio. Nami Milio, yeah. Maybe they're listening. Maybe it's just no. We have delay. So they can't.
We've got delay.
Yeah. So it's just gonna be those two bans. Now, my question for Alberta is, what do you pick on support?
And I mean, they want to answer you right away. Nautilus is going to be picked, which does leave the top counter pick for Alberta as top lane yet to be locked in. Yeah, we'll see what the hell you have to pick. But either way, there is the counter pick for Alberta.
Renata looks good.
Nautilus in the tank, a reliable support that's been for literally ever, always just been a solid tank engage, and lots of different switches, and Morgana, I thought we were going to stick with Alistar, which I was going to say, that's not bad for some frontline engage and going into the team fights. Morgana is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I don't like the Morgana here. I don't. There are just better champions for Varus, I think. You really want to frontline when you're playing on hit Varus, which I assume is what's going to be happening here if you're playing into Nautilus Volibear. You could, okay, the thing that you could do is you could play Lethality Varus and then have a Morgana, and then you play from range, and then you'll be okay, right? But I think Lethality Varus here, if you pair it with a Braum, excellent, right? There's Braum in this scenario, Varus Braum, super strong. Nautilus hooks the Braum, it doesn't matter. You just win the 2v2. Lucian will never be able to outdamage the Varus into the longer fights. Regardless, I don't agree with the Morgana. There are way better support picks here. They're going to go for it. It does like neutralize the Nautilus somewhat, but there are other supports that would neutralize him more and enable the Varus for it. But regardless, I won't stay on it. Renekton is going to be the blind pick for top here for Dalhousie and is going to be answered by the Gwen on Alberta's side. So looking at these two comps, it does look like Dalhousie, they have like, I don't know, it's very weird. I feel like a lot of these drafts are like super reactionary. So you have like this pick, and then they're like, okay, we're going to counter that by like picking Morgana, and we're going to like pick Nautilus and so on. So they're not that cohesive. So yeah, I don't know if you have any preference for these drafts, boys.
I want to say I'm leaning more towards Alberta just because I'm looking at it. I'm seeing there's a lot of just like constant fight potential on the side of Alberta. Yone wants to be fighting a lot. Lucian wants to be fighting. Gwen can get very spicy in any matchup if Gwen can get ahead. That's a lot of damage. It's a lot of true damage that you can't really tank. And Gwen, if they're really unlocked, can be very, very hard to turn them off. However, for Dalhousie, I've actually not seen pretty much anything of the new Skarner, so that's cool. I want to see that and how they'll play into this. But yeah, like you're saying, the Morgana's a weird one. I really don't know how that's going to play out even in late game going into team fights or just like when they want to skirmish. How much can the Morgana really shut down a lot of the other members of Alberta?
I don't like it.
I don't know.
It's hard. I think there are just like some support picks that are just like way more reliable when it comes to the Varus lanes. It is like, it's not a bad pick necessarily, it's just that there are better ones in my opinion. Regardless, Morgana has been picked. Now a few things to note here. Alberta, once again, as we noticed before, they picked Lucian on R3, which means that Dalhousie was just like, okay, we're just going to ban like the most dangerous picks for the Lucian here. So Alberta ends up with Lucian Nautilus, which is not particularly good. Lucian is not going to be doing as much damage as he should be. They'll have more setup onto the Varus, yes, but because Dalhousie have a Morgana, you press E on the Varus, he isn't knocked up, he can do kind of whatever he wants. But as you said, the Gwen, though, this game is very interesting, and I like it. And the reason for that is because Dalhousie is super short range. They have a Skarner, they have an Akali that are both melee, they have a Renekton that's also melee. The only range that they have is Varus Morgana, which is kind of irrelevant for Gwen. She doesn't really care, especially if this is on hit Varus. Doesn't matter. You get hit by one Q, who cares? You press W, the Morgana Q just goes through you as if you were a ghost. So I agree with you. The Gwen here is very spicy, and I do like it. I'm still going to bet on Dalhousie. I don't know why. I'm just feeling it. That way we have a little bit of competition going. So far, I'm up 1.
You're up 1. I'm definitely going Alberta. I think a lot of the combinations we can see through the ultimates, like Nautilus into Yone ultimate, there's a lot of setup for this Yone and Gwen who really just want to jump on top of all of these melees who are more than happy to fight with them. But really, I think that Yone and Gwen both are going to succeed very, very well in those situations, and I'm definitely sticking with Alberta for this. But I believe we're going to get into the team intros now as we just wait a little bit longer to get into game. Should only be a couple of minutes. I believe Dalhousie first, as we were saying.
Oh, there we go.
Not much favorites because of the 5 Shaco picks, but it is Grim Menagerie. Hope I said that right. Sorry, brother. Tenhalf, CBM, Benji, and Trying in the support role. 5 Shakos. See, I wish that we would have at least got 1 Shaco if you're going to submit Shaco as your favorites. Stick to the bit.
I was hoping at least a Shaco hover is what I'm going to say, but we didn't get that. Regardless, from University of Alberta, we've got Bai. I loves you. On the top lane, his favorite character is Aatrox. Yizo, or Yeez0012. We're definitely like mispronouncing most of these names. We're doing our best, okay? Favorite champion, Nunu in the jungle. Solar Desire on the mid lane with Yone as his favorite pick. And an absolutely unpronounceable name. I'm going to try my best. Maybe Goch? Who knows?
Goch?
Like,
I want to say
something
Goch.
like that. Goch?
We need
the other pronunciation of that name is not as good. Bot lane with the Canny and Valdano with the Ornn. It's pretty interesting. The bot lane here from UOFA, not champion from the roles, so that's kind of interesting. But regardless
got
of
the Yone.
Yeah, we've got the Yone, so that's an interesting one. But regardless of what happened there, we've got these two drafts now, and I'm wondering whether you think, the Varus here is going to be on hit or lethality.
I think realistically, I think it has to go on hit, just because I don't think if they go just poke. I'm not sure about like the damage profile for the new Skarner and how much damage he really can put out, but I feel like if they want to have a lot of success in the team fights, it has to be on hit. Because I don't think they have anyone else that's going to put out enough sustained damage to be able to melt everybody that wants to jump on top of them. If it's lethality, Varus, WQE, and then you're sitting there for a little while, not able to like keep the sustained damage going, while Yone and Gwen are on top of you, killing everybody in front of you. Playing around the cooldowns into this, I feel like wouldn't be smart from Dalhousie, so probably on hit's my guess.
Yeah, it's my guess as well. I definitely think that it's necessary, kind of. As you said, there's no one but the Varus that can like shred through Volibear, that can shred through Nautilus. But again, it does just feel really bad to play on-hit Varus into Gwen, because what you usually want to do, right, your gameplay loop as on-hit Varus is you auto 3 times and then you use your abilities to refresh them, and then you do that over and over again. But if you're auto-attacking Gwen, she's in range to snip you. And if you're casting your spells on Gwen, she can press W and then they just fly over her. So it's pretty bad. It's kind of like one of those things where as like a AD carry, you really have to keep track of timers. You really have to keep track of cooldowns. You got to be, okay, Gwen used her ultimate. Gwen used her W. Now I can fight her. And even then she's dangerous. So it's gonna feel a little bit bad. So I'm wondering if the Varus here, which is, his name is Dalhousie, AD carry, Benji. If Benji is going to be able to pilot this Varus to completion. On top of that, the Akali as well. Pretty hard champion to pilot. It's definitely not one of the easiest champs. And you've got a lot of champions on the other end who can just absolutely demolish you if you misplay. Yone, melee range, Gwen, melee range, If you get caught by like a Nautilus hook, Volibear stun, like anything of the kind, you're going to have a really bad time as Akali.
Yeah, I really think that Alberta is going to be the strong side here. It's just, there's a lot of different things to counter a lot of the picks for Dalhousie, and unless it ends up like last game where we just have like a crazy early game and they get super far ahead, I think that under normal circumstances, Alberta is going to succeed.
Okay, I like it. To note, if Varus is going for lethal tempo here, Dalhousie's level 1 is probably a little bit stronger, I'm guessing, just because they do have that lethal tempo Varus that like once he gets a kill, you gotta reset, you get a bunch of attack speed and so on. They also have like some decent tools to catch out with, the Morgana Q. But Alberta could also play for the level 1 with their Nautilus Q, so I'm excited to see if either of these teams are going to go for a level 1 invade, because I think the game can blow up very early on, as you said, and we saw in the previous game. So looking forward to seeing if either team is going to be willing to flip the coin that early on into the game. We should be getting into the game relatively soon. But I'm very excited for this game too. And remember, we do have a third game after this game, which will be our final game of the day for these round robin games. I'm very excited for that one as well. And tomorrow we have the group stage. And I believe the day after we have finals. I believe that's kind of the schedule that we've got going on here. So if you're looking to catch some more League of Legends, we will be also streaming tomorrow and the day after.
And I'll be casting tomorrow as well. Unfortunately, I don't think you're joining me. I think it'll be
Oh,
my good friend Melon, another Fanshawe student, coming to cast with me. But unfortunately, we did have I believe it was a member of Alberta. Alberta's ADC did unfortunately crash and champ select, so we're just remaking the lobby. We are going to take a quick ad break brought to you by TELUS. Stick around. We'll get into the game as soon as we can once the players get back in the lobby and we've remade. We're just going to run that quick ad break. We'll be right back with you.
When I first heard about the TELUS esports series, I was like, there's no way.
I was absolutely stoked. You don't really hear about esports at all in Canada, let alone from a big company like TELUS.
Canada does have a scene, and we do have people who are thriving towards getting us into that bigger picture.
2 versus 1, and it should be their game. The Bronze Bonobos from second, now finally find first.
Simply put, the TELUS Esports Series is esports for everyone. It's our take of what we think the esports industry should look like and where we think it should go. It's way more fun to compete for something when there's something on the line. And the TELUS Esports Series gives players of all skill levels opportunities to experience that. We really want to make the gaming experience more fun for everyone, and we want to help the gaming industry evolve and grow the way that it should. And I think the time is right for it.
And welcome back to Game 2 of the Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition. Dalhousie versus University of Alberta is our second game of the day. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope that it's going to be a banger. And as we said, it is going to be the on-hit Varus here for, okay, well, the IGN that this guy has is not the same as the one we saw before, but that's completely fine. Area is probably even easier to pronounce than I think the one that we had on file, so that's completely fine. The level 1 invade UOFA, they're gonna go for it. They agree with me. Make some level 1 plays and make this game explode early. The flash hook is gonna connect there from Gryphon. The root as well, he's gonna have to flash out. Now the question is, do they invest more resources into this? The Q cooldown for the Nautilus should be back up in like about 5 seconds. He's going to hug the wall here, very smart. You're not going to be able to find a second hook, and he will be able to get out just fine.
Early flash forced out of the Renekton. Personally, I don't think that hook connected. It looked like it was a little high, but maybe that's just spectator, but that looked like a Riot classic right there for the hook hitbox.
Oh no, that's just Nautilus. That ain't even right. That's just Nautilus. He's got that lollipop for a hitbox when it comes to the Q. Yeah, it's going to be completely fine though. 1-for-1 trade on the flashes is obviously worth it for Alberta, since the Nautilus doesn't need his flash as bad as the Renekton does. On top of that, he does have the Hex flash, so I'll be completely fine with it. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, neither bot lanes are going to leash there. The first Q from trying is going to miss. As nice skin there from the Varus. That is the MSI skin. I have that. It is so clean. It feels like a hack, I can't lie.
It does look pretty clean. I actually haven't looked a lot at the MSI skins. I haven't been on League in a little while, so I didn't even really get to look at them, but it does look cool.
That is really cool. It's the Empyrean skin line. Not to be too much of a Riot chill here. The Solar Desire here is going to be able to hit the level 2. They're going to trade it out here. Solar Desire here has the lethal tempo all stacked up, so he might be looking for a little bit more here. The Q3. He's just going to use it on the wave. They should be completely fine there. I was actually going to connect. Okay, nice trades. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, it looks like Aria and Trying do have the wave stacked up. They'll be able to shove it under tower, and they'll be completely fine. Now, it looks like for the junglers here, we do have opposite pathing. So we have the Skarner that started at the bottom side of the map and is going to be pathing towards the top. Meanwhile, Yizo on the Volibear is actually looking for an early gank bottom lane. They're going to be looking for a hook. I believe the hook did miss, but the root is there. Trying is going to have to flash out, even without the Volibear there, as Trying is going to be taken down super low there.
That was a lot of damage from the Volibear. It kind of shocked me. I thought it'd just be a little bit of a poke to kind of stop the back, but that was a lot of damage onto the Morgana. Ignite used by Nautilus. Manages to survive, but it's a good roam. Still pressure from Alberta managing to keep in this. Gwen down low. Skarner looking to set up the dive possibly, but there's only 3 minions in this wave, and it looks like it might even go down to 2. Or sorry, I didn't see another caster minion, but 3 minions here. I really don't think that this is doable. Skarner's already taken the tower shots. Gwen's trying to get away, manages to get out, but another tower shot tanked by Skarner. Wow, that is so low health. That's got to literally be, okay, that had to be 5 HP left for Skarner. Executed barely by Dalhousie, but it is the kill either way.
Yeah, that's single digits HP right there. Pretty unlucky. I will say, I think if Dalhousie played that dive a little bit better, it would have been even easier to execute. Realistically, I think Gryphon should have taken that last tower shot. So, you know, it was close, but also if Dalhousie were better, it shouldn't have been close in the first place. Like, Gryphon here, he's very low. Okay, well, that's unlucky. Gryphon here just got a little bit greedy, I think. Area doesn't have the flash here, remember. Oh, no, he does. That's the Morgana that does, but he's going to get chain CC'd either way, and that's going to be Lucian taking down the first blood. So we're already seeing here a little bit of a difference in playstyle in between Dalhousie and Alberta. Alberta are looking for the bot side. Meanwhile, Dalhousie are looking for the top side. Solar Desire, though, the E connects. He's going to have to flash away here from the follow-up Q, and he's going to have to recall here. Dalhousie, though, as we said before, looking for the top side. The Renekton has been playing pretty good so far, but he did go down to that 1v1, which means that the Gwen is completely fine.
Yeah, it's a great response from Alberta, managing to get the kill back onto Gwen, as well as the kill in the bot lane. And this Gwen with Conqueror, you know, get in these prolonged fights, can stack it up like we're seeing right now. And while the healing from Renekton is a lot, they're both low. Yeah, I don't know what the Renekton's going in, almost manages to get the kill on the Gwen, but snip, Renekton's dead. Goodbye, Crocodile. No TP as well, and this wave's going to be crashing unless Skarner can manage to hold it.
He can't even. I don't think he can kill her. Oh, never mind. I lied.
Stunned enough that Gwen can't even use anything to get out of that. And now Alberta looking to repeat in the bot lane. Hook connects, spell immune, and locks down trying after the bubble, and it is another kill in response to Alberta. Alberta's doing very well responding to these top plays with the bot plays of their own so far.
Indeed, as you said, the responses on kind of the other part of the map have been very solid, and this is the problem that we've been seeing, right, with the Morgana. You use your Black Shield, that's sick. You blocked like a Nautilus Q, and now it's gone. And now there's really nothing more of value for kind of your champion to do. If that was a Braum, you kind of stand in front of your AD carry, you press E, and there's 0 damage being output. Meanwhile, we've got the 1v1 here in the mid lane, the anime fight. But Solar Desire is actually gonna just flash out of that one and be like, nah, I'm not too cool with this one. Well, out of that one rather. Meanwhile, on the top side, this is a pretty heavy advantage for the Gwen right now. Gryphon does have pressure because his wave is so much bigger, and Bai does not have his Gwen ultimate quite yet. But you can see that the CS differential here is really, really big in the top side. Meanwhile, on the mid lane, we might be looking for another fight. Solar Desire has used his ultimate already, though. Meanwhile, the Akali is going to go into her Shroud, going to be completely fine. The Skarner is just going to knock him into the wall. There isn't enough follow-up to kill him for now, and Alberta should be able to just walk this one out. Yeah, should be fine.
Yeah, great response from Skarner to make sure that no mid play can happen there. Yone does go low, and with the ultimate burn, the way out wasn't very clear, but snapback from the E is enough. And now both jungles just kind of sitting under the mid tower. Skarner's going to try and hook onto this, but the Akali is taking the tower shots. Bad tower juggling once again will cost a kill. The hook connects from Nautilus as well. 2 versus 2, but the damage is still coming in. Menagerie is up. It's a lot of damage, and it's enough for the kill on the Volley Bear. Response is coming from both sides, but Gwen is here. The AoE snips should take down Menagerie, but the Q as well. The double kill for both top laners. That's a lot of damage on this Renekton on just the Caulfield's Hammer.
The Renekton kind of saves the play, but it's still a disaster for Dalhousie, just because their Gwen is so strong. And look at this bot lane. That's going to be another plate going down. The full wave is most likely going to die before the Akali actually gets there. Yes, your bot lane moves first, but the enemy Gwen is so strong that it doesn't actually matter. On top of that, your bot lane is too late regardless to actually have an impact on this fight. So this is not exactly good for Dalhousie, to say the least. This Gwen is most likely going to have her first item in base, I'm guessing. Let's see it. No, okay, not quite yet. But I'm guessing that she's pretty close, as the hook is going to connect here, but there shouldn't be any follow-up. Okay, Nautilus actually just kind of trolled that. I'm not going to lie. That hook was pretty bad. The follow-up Q, the root, should be dead here. The good news is Goach is here for the follow-up kill. The culling is going to do some damage. That's going to be it. Meanwhile, the Akali is going in. She has the ultimate unlocked. This Volibear should be dead with the E. Still has the second part of her ult, but doesn't look like another target is found. And Dalhousie just bring this game back over and over extension from Alberta.
And Nautilus looking for the engage actually cost them the fight, most likely. And unfortunately, there was a little bit of wave that blocked the culling from Lucian. Not enough to finish off the low health members of Dalhousie. And Dalhousie, with a slight response back into the game, looking to neutralize this gold lead. Still sitting at 6 to 7 for kills. Sub 1k gold lead on the side of Alberta. Nautilus is walking up, but Akali's just going to be able to get out for free. There's really nothing Alberta could have done in that play. But pushing the wave, crashing into the Akali, and plates getting taken on top side. Alberta still has a decent grasp on the lead in this game.
It's been a bit of a fiesta, but looking across the board, the important things to note are that the Gwen is 20 CS ahead, and you can see that she's like 500 gold up, and the Lucian is almost he is 1k gold ahead, and that is pretty bad, to say the least. Your win conditions have kind of already been unlocked by Alberta. They do get the first dragon, but it is very late, so it's not too big of an issue. My worry here is that, is there anyone actually on Dalhousie that can match the Gwen split? So far, the answer has been no, as they're looking for another dive here, but Gwen is just completely fine. She's going to use the ultimate for good measure. I honestly don't even think that she needed it. Okay, that Skarner ult looked a little bit silly. That was a little bit desperate.
A bit of a head scratcher, but hope that Gwen would overstep, I guess. Ultimates traded now in the top lane, and Gwen will live with absolutely no consequences. Manages to farm the wave, nothing happens. Skarner's just going to go back to farming, and now on bot side, Hook again connects the bubbles late, won't block the hook. Blast Cone to get out, but Yone's over the wall, and it is Varus gone. The bubble's too late for Morgana, and the intended interaction is not enough.
Meanwhile, we did have an Akali that kind of waited for the Soul Unbound to come back. It snapped back and just one-shot him over the wall. So it is traded. The flash all from the Morgana, but she's going to die before it procs. It does some decent damage, but is it actually enough to turn the tides? The Skarner is going to be taking 1 kill. Meanwhile, Akali is in a 1v2 situation. The HP bars on Valentino are pretty low, though. Not going to be able to find a Q over the wall, and Alberta, they're going to be looking for the hook. The root is going to connect. Yeah, this is not a play that you want to take. This Akali is too strong. She's going to E over the wall. But the positioning from the Ver is key in the beginning of that fight. He gets caught out and dies so fast to the solution that already has a Kraken Slayer unlocked. Means that Alberta, they get a little bit of an advantage on their AD carry. Again, this solution, despite not having a Nami or a Miller to back him up, is going to be so dangerous this game.
Yeah, two very strong key pieces on the side of Alberta already. And it's even better for the Lucian where you have this Gwen that's able to just jump in front of them, eat everything, and tank himself. While Lucian's still free-firing in the backline, there's already more than one threat that Dalhousie is going to need to deal with. And I don't see a way unless, realistically, Renekton is going to have to probably be the savior in these team fights, looking for backline able to isolate the Lucian. Otherwise, Gwen and Lucian, Gwen's going to have to eat up all that front line. And if Lucian's free-firing the whole time, it's so much damage for Dalhousie to deal with.
It is. And if I'm Alberta this game, I'm so happy. Okay, I don't think this play is actually going to work out. Okay, the ultimate is used. That's fine. Pretty short cooldown onto the Gwen. But mainly because now, at this point into the game, I'm thinking, okay, we can play this game basically however we want, but I think the way that Alberta will want to play this game is by playing 4-1. Or even 1-3-1. Your Yone might also be able to match the Akali, though I think it's less likely. But the Gwen, on the other hand side, is going to be completely unresponsive. Meanwhile, okay, we're looking for a Skarner gank here into the bot side. The Lucian almost has the flash unlocked, but not quite yet. It's a nice follow-up route from the Morgana. Stunned for a billion years. Shutdown goes over to the Varus. This is going to be a wipe for Dalhousie because this Yone is way too late. The resets come in for the Varus. So much attack speed. And Dalhousie, they're back on the board.
Now, lethal tempo getting fully stacked on the on-hit Varus. That's a lot of damage just from the on-hit alone onto the 3 members of Alberta, and it's very well played. Dalhousie's found their response that we were looking for off the Skarner gank, and Renekton's playing this very well so far to live. Clears out the wave that was under the tower, but it is still a lot of damage on the side of Alberta. This Gwen is a threat, and with the Volibear to help, it is a decent response for Alberta after the 3 kills in bot, taking another plate for this Gwen, who continues to grow the top lane lead. But now, there's another threat on the side of Dalhousie they're going to have to deal with, and it's no longer just a Lucian.
That was a big mistake from Alberta, playing the 3v3 there bot side. Your Volibear is top side, so you really have no reason to kind of make that play, and it goes south. I think they didn't expect the Skarner gank, to be fair. I don't think that they were actually going for the 3v3. I think Skarner ganked first, and then Solar Desire was like, oh, I have move, I can help. Turned into a 3v3, and they lost it. But yeah, again, there's really not much reason for you to play that aggressively when your jungler's on the other side of the map. And this is a big problem because now the Varus is actually pretty strong. He has his Bork unlocked. He can now, use all of the crowd control that Dalhousie does have to make a lot of space for himself. As, okay, the first grub is going to be going down for the side of Dalhousie. That's 4 grubs unlocked. Now, remember, on this patch, 4 grubs does actually unlock the little grublets, or whatever they're actually called, that spawn when you hit the turret. So Alberta will be able to deny the full 6, but Dalhousie, they'll still get what they wanted. Meanwhile, the Lucian here is a little bit under pressure under his tier 2, or his tier 1 rather. He does have both sums here, so he should be completely fine.
Yeah, and the wave clear for Lucian, Q, double auto, that just spell weaving, very clean to clear out that wave quickly, eliminate the pressure, just going to sit on our tower and continue to collect the waves. Everyone's kind of just hovering around this bot side jungle for the Drake. It looks like Dalhousie has some intention of wanting to take the Drake, just setting up vision and clearing everything out around it before they do so. 4 members still hovering around. It looks like they are finally starting to take the Drake, and we're TPing into mid lane, so the top lane is going to be left open for Gwen. That's a free tower for Gwen, while it is going to be Drake for Dalhousie.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think Alberta could have fought that. I don't think there's a particular reason why they couldn't have, but they decided nonetheless to kind of just trade it for their top side, which is completely fine. They get the tier 1 on the top lane as well as the Rift Herald here, so it's more or less an even trade. They could have fought it, but they opted not to. Now, again, I think at this point in the game, Alberta is once again kind of looking at Gwen as their win condition. They really just want to play side lanes through her. She is uncontested, and she will be able to completely destroy any tier 2 turret that comes their way. Meanwhile, Alberta can play the 4v4 just fine. You know, it's not necessarily winning, but at the very least, they might be able to go even. As Valadano here, he's going to go in with Q. Meanwhile, his AD carry is just going to get stunned up, and he's dead. Not much to do here there. They should have been a little bit more aware of the fact that, again, like, their jungler is on the top side of the map. You're weak sided. You need to play a little bit more backwards. Okay, it looks like meanwhile the Rift Herald is going to be summoned here in the mid lane. They're actually going to drive it through. Beep beep. Tokyo Drift. They should be able to get the full turret here in just a second. Meanwhile, Dalhousie actually going in on this play. Skarner is a little bit late. The TP is here. It's now transformed into a 3v3. The Gwen ultimate is going to be used as well as the W. Gwen is immune for now, but it's not going to be for too much longer. The AD carry is here as well. Varus is going to be able to output so much damage. The shutdown goes over to the Renekton. Volibear is going to have to get out, so it's a tier 1 traded for a kill.
Yeah, the burst from Renekton is not to be underestimated despite the lead that Gwen had. Renekton is still a very big threat, and it is going to matter there. Jumping on to Gwen, manages to burst her down. The ultimate didn't find enough targets to really drain tank Gwen back up to any reasonable amount of health. And it is the kill for Dalhousie, and the gold lead has completely evened with the kills now in Dalhousie's favor.
Alberta don't need to fight these. They don't need to fight these. Once again, Gwen should just go side lane and just play off of your Gwen. Pressure with your Gwen. She can take down turrets. She'll win in the 1v1. And just play the 4v4 or just play a 1-3-1. But unfortunately, Alberta are kind of forcing these plays, which is going to still be okay. The game isn't lost by any means for either of these sides. In fact, it is very, very close. But Alberta could have been in a much better position if they played alongside where win conditions is a little bit better. Solar Desire here, he has unlocked the Bork here, so he is going to be finally a little bit more useful in these skirmishes. But again, the Varus here is also a very, very big problem. Solar Desire is just going to check these bushes with his E. He'll be completely fine. And the next big objective that we're going to be looking for at this point is the Baron. Because the dragons were so late, the threat of a soul is really not that big of a deal. So the Baron here is going to be the next objective that we're going to be looking for. Also look out for a lot of these item spikes. We're going to be looking for 2 items on Varus, 2 to 3 items on Gwen. Those are also kind of the things that we're going to be looking out for.
Yeah, and Chemtech Soul as well for the Drakes if we can manage to stack. Yone's gone in. The Q is going to knock up Akali. Akali manages to go back onto the Soul Unbound and executes Yone after the snapback. Volibear will trade it out under the tower, but that's very well done from the Akali to make that 1-for-1.
Yeah, that was a clean flash. Flashes right on top of the Yone before the ultimate actually casts. There is a cast time on the ultimate, so she just flash Qs him. Very lucky, I will say. That Q looks like it barely executed him. If he lived with literally just 1 HP, the Akali was dead. So it was very close. One thing that as a Yone you could have done, I don't think it was the correct play here, but it, you know, potentially if you really wanted to go full on anime fight there, you could have buffered the R with your ultimate, and then dodge out on the Akali Q, which would have been sick. But objectively, I don't think it's the right play. Regardless, that is going to be a nice pick there going for the Akali. It is traded though, and Akali does have a shutdown, so it isn't really like much of a play whatsoever. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things for this game. Regardless, a little bit accelerated there for the Volibear as well as the Akali. Now, crucially, the Gwen is on 2 items. None of the characters on Dalhousie have 2 items. So I think Alberta should just be looking for this dragon, to be honest. They could easily have their Gwen just walk here. The Renekton doesn't really have pressure on their top tier 2. Let's see if they agree with me here. It does look like Gwen is going to be walking towards the bot side.
Yeah, Gwen can leave the side lane here. No threat from the Renekton, and it looks like Dalhousie wants to just eliminate the other side lane threat of Yone. Before this Drake will spawn, and now Yone not going to be alive for this Drake, as it does come up in 15 seconds. Those timers are unsynced. Looks like Alberta wants to ignore the Drake right now, or at least just put pressure away to try to pull Dalhousie off of the Drake, taking the mid-tier 2, and now they're able to reset. The Drake is not going to be started by Dalhousie off spawn, which means Yone may actually have time. The TP is unlocked, and it is online still, as Alberta's 4 running top. Yeah, and Yone has the TP in here, up in 3 seconds if Alberta can stall this out.
They're not going to be able to find it, though. It's a nice flash ultimate. They know that it's a 4v5, and the Baron is up. They find another pick as well. The Yone is back up, and he has the teleport. I think Alberta should fight this. The Gwen has ultimate as well. The culling is going to come out. The flank TP, as you said, from the bottom right of your screen. 10.5 is taken down very low, though. The Gwen, she's made for these kinds of fights. So much damage from that final ultimate. It's already only the Bullet Bear left alive. He's going to be taken down as well. The Akali, though, looking for some damage. That's a nice E. It's an assassination to the backline. They're not going to be looking for the final kill onto the Akali. The Nautilus is respawned, though, and now it's a 4v1. 4v1, 3v1 for now at the Baron, as the Nautilus is still waddling his way there. The Akali doesn't have ultimate, though, crucially. The Elf bars are taken down pretty low, though, and remember, Baron going to be shredding through that MR. They're going to be looking for the Akali. They know that they need to kill her before this goes down. The snip, so much damage. Even invisible, the Akali will not survive. It's a Baron going for Alberta.
Very well played from Alberta. Yone comes in at the last moment just to secure the 4th kill. The 3 members of Alberta fighting on the top side of the map there did very well to execute the 3 members of Dalhousie and make that into a very early lead. And it looks like we're going to have a pause. Akali did disconnect. So we're going to have to wait to see what happened for that. Hopefully, I think Akali was there for the fights. So I'm guessing Akali just disconnected after. Maybe we just need a game restart, some lag issues. So we are just going to go into, just wait for that to, we'll get an update from that shortly, hopefully, if it was a disconnect or with just a game restart. We are going to stay paused for now.
Pretty smart. I will say, I think both of the teams are kind of playing around their macro pretty intelligently. I like it. University of Alberta, they see that they're like, okay, our mid laner is dead, it's 4v5, we don't want to contest this dragon, let's just take mid tier 2 instead, which is relatively smart. They're right. But the other thing is, Dalhousie see this, and they're like, okay, they're not going for the dragon, they're going for our mid tier 2, we have a numbers advantage, let's force a fight. So they go for it, and they're able to find the pick. But the crucial moment is that they overforce the Baron. They have to remember, Gwen has ultimate, Lucian has ultimate, all of the other characters has ultimate. Meanwhile, Dalhousie, they have a bunch of cooldowns down. So they start a Baron that they cannot win. Even 4v5, it's just not possible. The Gwen just does too much damage, the Lucian does too much damage. You need to turn. Unfortunately, they don't turn in a coordinated way. They die. Alberta get the advantage back, and now they take the Baron themselves. As we get, a little bit of a bug here, but it's no worries. We should be able to get through it in just a second. But crucially, look at the Gwen's items. Look at how strong she's going to be in just a little bit of gold. Am I saying that right? Is that 10,000 gold? How much gold?
10,000 gold on Gwen.
Oh, no, she has 420 gold in her inventory right now. So when that goes to 1,100, I believe, is the total combination gold for the Rabadons. Watch out. This Gwen is going to shred through Dalhousie.
Yeah, not far off for the Gwen either. It's kind of insane that out of the 42k for Alberta, a quarter of it is just one member. And it looks like we're going to get a 5 versus 5. The TP's coming in from Dalhousie. Again, Alberta wants these kind of fights, and the Gwen damage is there once again. But it's 2 for 2 early.
Welcome to the blender, baby. Dalhousie versus Alberta. Every character is going in melee range, and for now, it's an even trade. But the health bars are a little bit lower on Dalhousie here, with their Varus being a little bit low. Alberta is also scared. Both of the teams are like, okay, whatever. Let's not fight this dragon. Let's just go take something else. But Alberta, they're going to be looking for a tier 1 in the bot side. Meanwhile, Dalhousie, it's a tier 2 for the mid lane. That's definitely going to be a little bit more worth for Dalhousie there. My question is, are we going to get a round 2 for this Drake, or maybe even rather round 3 for this dragon? And look at this Gwen. Look at what she just unlocked, baby. That is a Rabadon's death cap in the inventory.
Yep, and that key point for Gwen that we were just mentioning, that fight is just enough with the kill for Gwen to get the extra gold. And now with that Rabadon's, the Gwen that was already doing so much damage is going to be even harder to deal with for the side of Dalhousie. Well, they have managed to take out Gwen early in some of these fights. It's very evident what happens if they don't.
Round 3, baby. Alberta, they do have control over the bottom half of the map with a lot of the vision here. They have a pink ward in the pit, so they're completely fine. They're going to be able to take this dragon, which, by the way, is like barely relevant whatsoever. The Chemtech dragons by themselves are really not worth that much. On top of that, it is not even close to being a soul. So either team could have easily just been like, okay, whatever, going to the other side of the map and then take something else. But luckily for us, the viewers, they do not do that. And they instead fight it out, which is a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, Soul a pretty far time off for now, and a very strong Yone is just absolutely melting this Renekton in the 1v1 for the solo kill in the top lane. 3 members of Dalhousie were roaming up for
this
what
is a
looked like a
disaster.
play. But before they could even get there, he's dead, and now mid and bot both getting pushed in. That Renekton dying was the entire play for Dalhousie.
This is terrible. Dalhousie, I think that what they wanted to do is bait a play on the top side and be like, okay, we're going to make a fast play on this Yone as he pushes out this side wave before the rest of the team gets to our turrets, so we get a pick, we neutralize their Baron, which is not necessarily a bad idea, but you fail to realize that Yone has a little fun thing called E, where he could just fight without you even being there as Solar Desire. Okay, well, that was just a little bit overextended. He was low HP. I don't know why he shoved it, but it's fine. It kind of just is like a minor problem here, because the real problem is the Gwen, who just took another tier 2 in the bot side, and is going to be shoving as long as the game wonders. As okay, unfortunately, this Akali is really having a lot of problems with the ISP. Luckily, okay, it looks like we're going to be back in regardless. Maybe, hopefully.
I see play will resume in 0. I'm hoping that means that we're coming back in. We will have to see. I didn't see a disconnect that time, but
Akali did disconnect. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the disconnect. So yeah, I guess we will just have to see if we're going to get back in. It looks like we are, yeah, immediately going to come back in. Just a little bit of a delay. Not too much. We're back in once again. The Yone being the only person down, and Alberta looking to reset, not wanting to overextend any farther. Skarner wanting to lock down this Volibear, but Volibear manages to get out, forces the flash, but it will just be the flash forced out. Dalhousie cannot continue to chase.
Yeah, it is a nice play from Dalhousie to recognize that the Volibear is just kind of, he's like completely off tempo with the rest of his team. He's the only one on the map. Dalhousie is like, what is this guy doing? Let's just crash on him. He does have flash and ultimate, so they're able to force that out. But again, there is really nothing on the map for them to punish during that time. On top of that, that's not really who they should be worried about. This character right here is who you should be worried about, as you do not actually win this 1v2. If it is a 1v3, maybe, as Bai Loves You is just going to instantly delete the Skarner off the map, exactly as we said. Varus is in melee range because he has to. He's not lethality Varus, he's on hit Varus. And yeah, that's a one very strong Gwen. That is just going to snip Dalhousie back to the base.
Yeah, 1 versus 3, and now Morgana has nowhere to go either. Looking to get the kill on the Gwen, does max range hook, goes 1 for 1, at least gets the kill on the Gwen, which was a shutdown, but the shutdown into the pockets of Morgana, not going to be very useful in the grand scheme of things. And now with 3 members down for Dalhousie, Alberta's going to be able to push in these lanes. Bot lane gets pushed in, maybe we'll be able to pressure some of the tier 3s, but the respawn timer is already coming up. Bot tier 2, or top tier 2, sorry, taken for Alberta. And now what else do they want to make a play off this?
Do not let the kills fool you. This game is not close, as we have another 1v1 in the bot side. Solar Desire, though, he has a little bit of the HP advantage. Both ultimates have been used so far. Akali still has flash. Meanwhile, the Yone does not. And meanwhile, in the top side, it's actually the Varus that finds a pick onto the Nautilus here. Volibear is going a little bit too deep. This Varus is outputting so much damage. Oh, nice flash, though. He's going to be able to dodge onto the Q, and it's going to be the Lucian that gets the double kill. And Alberta might be looking for another tier 3 here in the top side. Their HP bars are a little bit low, though, so I don't know if they want to do that. Yeah, a little just back off. But regardless, Alberta are steadily in the lead in this game.
Yeah, we still have the enemy fight going on in the bot lane. Lethal tempo fully stacked for Yone, and the ult, nice. The Q back in, or E, sorry. I forget the names of the letters for Akali. I forget which ability is which. I just know the ability. It's 3 for 1. For the side of Alberta. Alberta's going to take that every day. Yone going down is not a big deal. It's already happened a couple times.
This Baron is gone. Yeah, this Baron should just be gone. You have
up spawn and gone once again.
Yeah, most likely. You have a Volibear to tank it. You have a Gwen to shred through it, and you have the Kraken Slayer Lucian here. Morgana is going to see what's happening, so they know that it's going down. They have the teleport, but I believe that this Baron honestly is just gone before they're even here. As yeah, the Akali is here. They're looking for a fight. Are they going to be able to find it is my question. The answer is most likely no. They just dash over the wall. They have quite a bit of mobility, so they should be completely fine. And Dalhousie here, they're just one step too late on every single play, and it's mostly off of the back of the Gwen and Lucian being so far ahead.
Yeah, and far ahead is the entire team of Alberta, nearly a 10k gold lead. It's sitting at about 8.5 right now. It's going to be very hard for Dalhousie to come back. The threats are still there. It's not over. There is angles back into this game for Dalhousie if they can force a fight. The Drake stacking is not like Alberta's got this on lock. They can give up Drakes if they want. Either team, no one's really, I don't even know if we're going to see a soul in this game at this point. With a nearly 9k gold lead at 28 minutes, and only 2 Drakes taken by one team. And it looks like Dalhousie wants to do this, most likely wanting to just force the fight instead of actually taking a Drake, and the fight they will get. But it doesn't look like it's going well for them so far. The Volibear and the Lucian drop, I stand corrected. 2 drop already on the side of Alberta, but it's damage going back and forth. The Blender is back. It's so much going on.
Who can kill this Gwen?
Putting the damage though.
Who can kill this Gwen? I don't think it's anyone. There's no one that can take her down. It is so much damage, so much HP bars for her to heal off of. You're nothing but a piece of paper to this Gwen at this point in the game. 10-half is going to go down. And as you said, it was such a good team fight for Alberta, but it doesn't matter because no one can kill this character in this game. So Valdania here, he's caught out. I think he might actually be dead here with the Renekton dash again. No, he'll just be fine. Yeah, it's rough. It's really, really hard here for Dalhousie. No matter how good of the angle for the Akali is, there's still no one to kill this Gwen.
The Gwen is full health at the end of the team fight. Gwen was just in the middle of 5 people, killed 3, and is full health at the end of the team fight.
Yeah, as we mentioned in the draft, the R5 Gwen here is very, very strong. And is the reason why I wondered maybe Lethality Varus might actually be better here just because of the Gwen. I know it sounds ridiculous because otherwise the Lethal Tempo Varus is obviously a lot stronger, but it's just so hard. No one can kill her. No one can space her. As Lucian now has a GA, so he won't be able to be one-shot by this Akali as he was in this last team fight, which is the only reason why this fight was close. This Akali had such a good angle waiting in that blue buff bush, and was like, okay, I'm going to wait here patiently, wait for someone to walk by, find a really good flank angle, and delete Lucian off the map before the team fight even goes through, which exactly is what happened. So they had like such a good angle, but again, Gwen is alive, Gwen is immune, and Gwen is going to snip you down.
Gwen is nearly 2 items ahead of this Renekton at this point in the game. 4 items completed, plus a needlessly large rod. Renekton just finished 3 items in boots. It is such a strong lead for the Gwen. It's going to be so hard for Dalhousie to do anything about this. That's the fight that Dalhousie watched though, and Nautilus picked up early. Nautilus has gone down early a couple times, and it hasn't really impacted Alberta's fighting power because even without that engage from the Nautilus, you still have Volibear, and all of the damage is still there.
This is a very good pick. They're going to be able to fight off kind of this this Nexus attack that they've got here. The Morgana is taken down very low. The Yone finds a nice angle, though. The Varus is still alive. Crucially, the GA is going to be taken down. It's a 2v4 for this. No, excuse me, a 2v3, as the Akali is actually going to be able to find the perfect timing. Perfect execution is a perfect name here, as the GA is going to go down, as well as the Lucian. It's now a 2v2, but this bot lane, again, this Gwen, unkillable. I think she still has the Zonias as well. I don't think it actually went down, as yeah, they should just be able to walk this minion wave down, and we'll be able to just take this tier 2. The Varus, though, crucially in that fight, untouched. Good positioning. The Gwen, okay, well, that's a lot of damage. The turret has been deactivated by the Volibear. Can you space glide out of this one, Varus? You're going to be able to find 1, which is already very good in this game state, so you'll be able to save your inhibitor. But I don't know if you'll be able to save the game.
Yeah, that team fight in mid lane there was absolutely perfectly played by the Akali. I think that GA popped for literally half a second before Lucian died again. That timing was perfect, as you said. And yeah, the Volibear will go down a bit overextending, probably just like, hey, we're ahead, kind of just base checking them, thinking that they can go for the kill in the 1 versus 2. It is enough for Gwen to secure that bot tower, and now mid inhibitor is gone, bot inhibitor tower is gone. There's a lot of ways in for Alberta to look for a game end after this next fight.
That is a full item Gwendolyn in the top side of the map there. Looking for the Fate Unsealed. Not going to be able to find the Renekton, but I don't think it actually matters. The slow from the Borg will be able to catch him out. He has his double E, but again, it doesn't really matter, as the Renekton will be going down here. Not a very fun game for the poor Crocodile. This has been repeatedly cut into handbags this entirety of the game. As Dalhousie, once again, they're on the back foot. They have to defend 4v5. There are 2 objectives coming up in 35 seconds, and Alberta realistically should be getting both of them.
Yeah, that death timer on Renekton is already very long, 35 seconds with 33 minutes left in the game, or 33 minutes into the game. That timer is only going to get longer. Bubble is used to keep the Skarner alive. That's a very fast Skarner to get away, locking down the Volibear and the ultimate to hold them in place. Dalhousie looks like they want the fight, but guess who's here once again? The Gwen and Lucian outputting all of the damage needed. It's just Akali as it's 3 for 2, but with Renekton still dead and Akali now stuck behind enemy lines, it looks like Alberta might just be able to force near end of the game here.
Crucially, Akali did manage to get most of the wave there, but there is one super minion left, and that should be all that Alberta needs to actually end this game. Renekton is trying his best to clear the wave. He has not taken down the super minion, though, and that's what matters. The Zhonya's has been used. The Akali is the only one left defending. The HP bars are pretty low, though, on Alberta. The Zhonya's has been popped. They're just waiting for her to respawn so they can take her down, and this Gwen will snip the entire game away as Alberta win our second game of the day.
Yeah, bye, I loves you with an absolutely incredible performance for UAlberta. The Gwen was absolutely the key factor for the win here, not to discredit the Lucian, who also had a lot of impact in that game. Well played by both sides throughout the entire game. Dalhousie found a lot of angles to come back into that game, despite the fact that there were such strong leads in both top and bot sides of the map. They found a lot of angles into team fights and a lot of picks. There was a lot of different moments, despite the lead that Alberta had for most of that game, that Dalhousie could have came back.
It was a close game until it wasn't. No, I mean that's obviously like a joking way of putting it, but the game kind of exploded as soon as Gwen got like a very big advantage. As you know, we kind of predicted in the select that this Gwen would be a problem, just because like you kind of are forced to play into lethal tempo Varus in this game just because of how much frontline there is, but then you have no one to actually deal with the Gwen damage. Up close, we saw so many team fights where it looked like, you know, Dalhousie had like such a good angle with the Akali, had like Varus positioning was okay. They were able to kind of sustain damage these fights, but Gwen was never dying. I think she went like 14-4 or something, which I mean, well deserved. Very hard game to play out. And now we're 1-on-1 on predictions. Which means that we are also in the best of 3. Exactly. For this last game of the day, which is going to be McGill versus University of Guelph. We'll go, I guess, on a little bit of a short break before the next game starts, and we'll see you in a little bit. And welcome back to our final and last game at the Collegiate You know what?
Canadian
Let me resay
Intercollegiate
that.
Exhibition.
Thank you.
Got it. It's a tongue twister.
Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition. Boom. Okay, I got it right. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. It's been a long day. Last and final game of the day is going to be McGill on the blue side versus Gryphon on the red side. We've got our pick and ban coming in straight away. Now, to note that McGill were in like a 50-minute game, as far as I'm aware. So this is when endurance starts to matter, when perseverance starts to matter, when mental fortitude starts to matter. Because if you get out of a 50-minute game, if you've played, comp before, it's pretty intense. And 50 minutes of League of Legends is pretty tiring for anyone. So I'm interested to see if that affects, a little bit of the nerves, a little bit of the gameplay here and there. But anyways, McGill will be banning here the Yasuo and the Camille, while Gryphon will be banning the Ahri for now.
Yeah, Guelph has had a break waiting for this game, and McGill pretty much just finished about 5 or 10 minutes ago. They have not had a lot of time to prepare, so McGill might come in on a bit of a... That being said, they could also be very warmed up after a 50-minute game. If they're warmed up and ready to go for this, maybe Guelph got iced out. Now, the bans are interesting on the side of McGill. Yasuo is the first ban. I'm assuming there's a pocket pick going on here. Again, we won't see the favorites till after when we do the team intros after draft while we're waiting for the spectator delay. But Yasuo, Camille, and TF banned out by McGill, as well as Ahri and Aatrox so far for Guelph, with that third ban most likely going to be locked in for the Recon, so the support tool being taken away. But McGill's bans are what interests me.
Yeah, so... Sorry, just one second. University of Guelph, they have Wander on their team, who is a Yasuo main. And he is, I've seen him play like in solo queue before. Okay, cool. I didn't even know that he was in this tournament. So yeah, definitely Yasuo ban going to be very solid here. He is like a Yasuo Yone main. He has like some games on Ahri and Tilia as well. But those are I think you just have to ban Yasuo against this guy. Like I would not let it through whatsoever. So McGill here, they're actually going to go for first pick onto the Senna. So some of the expectations that we have with Senna are usually Nautilus or Tom Kedge. So Gryphon are going to go for the second option here, which is to take away the Nautilus. And you can also pick like something for your AD carry here. Nautilus Varus is very solid. Nautilus Ashe is fine. You got a lot of AD carry options here that Gryphon can go for.
Yeah, but the TK is still up for McGill, so if McGill wants to lock that on the next two picks for them, it is still up, but Nautilus is another strong pick, both into the Senna and taking it away from Senna for the farming. It is very strong with the pairing. And obviously Jinx, super hyper scaling ADC to combat the Senna. Jinx, if we go to another 50-minute game, I don't think Jinx will let it go 50 minutes, so McGill has that going for them.
Yeah, as Ornn support is actually the other option here as well, in between TK and Ornn. Ornn is also very solid into Jinx, just because she can't really dodge the Nautilus, the Ornn R. It's not really possible for her to dodge it whatsoever. Yeah, both Ornn and TK are completely fine. It looks like they're going to go for TK. TK is a little bit more survivability for the Senna. It's a little bit safer, but honestly, both options are completely fine. If I'm McGill here, I might be looking for either mid or jungle. It does look like they're going to be going for the Wukong. Both Wukong and Sichuan are completely fine. Viego is always... This is extremely meta drafting, to be honest. This could definitely be something that you can see in Tier 1 drafts as well. It looks like the Xin Zhao here is going to be locked in for McGill. Now, into Xin Zhao, there are a few pocket picks that work really well. Kha'Zix is one of them. You can go Kha'Zix, and in this game specifically, Kha'Zix is really not that bad. You can go Serpent's Fang and deny a lot of the shielding potential that they have with the TK, with the Senna and the Xin. It is a little bit hard to pilot though, and generally, Xin Zhao is not usually something that like a lot of teams like to slot into their team comps. Jax jungle is another pick that's completely fine with the Xin Zhao, and this is a flex, of course. It can be picked top and jungle.
Yeah, we'll have to see where these bans are going to target, if McGill is going to want to target more jungle bans to force the Jax into jungle, or banning out top and force the Jax to go top if there's no comfortable picks for the side of Guelph. But yeah, that flex for the Jax will be very useful, and we'll have to see how they want to build around it, as technically both top and mid, yet most likely what will be top and mid, both not locked in for either side, Orianna being the first ban in the second set for Guelph, and Talia is the response. Another flex that could still go jungle as well if they want to send the Jax top, but it's more likely that Jax will be sticking towards the jungle here.
Talia ban here, I'm assuming is for Wonder. Since Talia is like one of his most played champions after the Yasuo Yone. It also indicates that they might be potentially looking for something like an Akali. Maybe something along those lines, like an Akali, or maybe another like dashing mid lane champion. Azir, well, Azir is banned in this case. Karma is going to be the last ban here from McGill. Now, Gryphon here, they have a lot of options. This part, they kind of will have to reveal. They could pick mid blind and then have their last pick reveal whether it's Jax top or Jax jungle and keep like the flex there, which I think is a little better of an option. They have a bunch of options here. Most likely going to go for some kind of AP scaling mage. Azir is off the board. You could pick Corki. You could pick Aurelion Soul. Hui is also a great option. They're going to go for it.
Yeah, Hui is very big with all the abilities in team fights. That ultimate can put a lot of damage down. Again, we were talking about it in the one game when it was being hovered, the 9 different abilities. It's a lot to keep track of, and it's a lot to have to deal with for the side of McGill, and it is going to be a blind mid, so top left open for counter pick for Guelph. McGill's going to have to play a blind for that. However, realistically, for both teams, and I think McGill's core of the first 3 is enough for them to play around, they can take a safe route for the top lane and Akali locked in the mid lane to challenge the way.
Yeah, so as we said, the Talia ban does kind of indicate that you're going to go for some kind of dashing mid lane champion. Akali is going to be it. It is one of the most popular champions that you usually just want to keep Talia away from. Now McGill have to blind pick top lane. Renekton is a very solid blind pick. Mordekaiser is okay. Since kind of the QSS nerfs, he is a lot easier to pilot in a blind matchup, but it's not exactly easy. But it's actually going to be the Pantheon, which is not the best blind pick champion top lane. There are like some difficult matchups for Pantheon. I'm not quite aware of all of them, but I know that there are a few difficult ones. It's all up to Gryphon to see kind of how deep can you look into your champion pool to see what are you going to pick against this Pantheon. And Poppy is going to be the answer, which is a very decent pick this game. You have a lot of dashes to cancel. You've got the Zid, you've got the Akali, you've got the Pantheon, which makes me think that McGill, maybe instead of the Karma ban, Poppy ban would have been good.
Now, my question is, now I'm not up to the current meta on this patch, but is Jax top or is Poppy top? Because both could flex both places.
Most likely Jax jungle. Jax has been a more popular jungler as opposed to Poppy. Poppy jungle has not been played that much. It is possible that they flex it, but my guess is Jax top. Or Jax jungle, excuse me.
They have the flexibility for whatever's the better matchup into the Pantheon. I really don't know which one would be better. Again, like you said, there's some tough matchups, but I don't really know them either. Pantheon's not a common top pick that I've seen or have much knowledge on. So we'll have to see how that goes. I think you are right, though, with the Jax jungle. Now, you've picked first the last 2 games. And for the side of, who we think is going to go, I think I've gone... Have I gone red side both times?
Yes, I think so.
I'm sticking with red side. I want to go with Guelph. I'm choosing Guelph to win this. I mean, you can choose the same. It's just the best of 3 would go to a tie if they win or we both lose. I think that Guelph will win this one. I think they've got a lot of solid damage potential. And while McGill does have a very solid core and that kill threat from Akali we saw in the last game, what Akali can do, I think that McGill's coming out of a 50-minute game. They're probably a little bit worn out. It's getting late. We're worn out too. I think that Guelph's had a bit of time to relax, and I think that'll give him a bit of an upper hand.
Yeah, I was going to go for Guelph as well. I think the Poppy is a really, really strong last pick here. You deny a lot of the kill potential that the Akali has, that the Xin has, like pressure on your Jinx. And on top of that, the Hui is pretty good into this comp as well. You have a lot of champions that are going to dash into you that really need to get on top of you to do damage, and Hui loves that. You just press all of your buttons, they just... It is crazy. So I think they have like the bodyguard, right? They have the Poppy, they have the Jax, they have the Nautilus to prevent the Akalis and Pantheon of getting on top of your backline. And they have like a very solid like front to back comp with Jinx Hui as well. So I do think I favor Guelph, but it's so boring if we both choose the same option. That means no one wins either way. So I'm gonna go for McGill. I'm gonna go for McGill. You know, I was born in Montreal, so like, yeah, go McGill, I guess. It's not like McGill's comp is bad either way. Santa TK is still like very solid scaling, and they have like some very decent skirmishing. Xenakali and Pantheon makes it so they can play side lanes really easily, right? You have the Pantheon ult, you have a Kali that usually does win side lanes, you have a Senna ult on top of that, and Xin Zhao is like usually better in those early game 2v2s. So again, it's not like McGill doesn't have a way of winning this game. It's just that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to execute, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see the way. I've wanted to see way throughout the regular season last split, and unfortunately, I didn't get to see a lot while I was casting. But like, how can you not be a fan of? Oh, they're walking in front of me, and you've just hit all your abilities and they're dead. Like, it's great to watch that, champ. You just get to button mash, and you use 3 abilities. What were they? I don't know, but you used them. And now we are just going to go into the team intros real quick before we get past spectator delay. So introducing first will be McGill, where we have Feather Slash, Hazy UX, Grizz, Vasticious, and Jemmy. I hope I said the last one right. And the favorite picks, I like these. I like the favorite picks. The bot laner having Viego as a favorite is interesting, but I respect it. Lulu, I respect less.
Hey man, nothing wrong with playing Lulu. Leave them alone. Okay. Anyways, Gryphon here, Mapleshade in the top lane. Two neuter mains in this tournament. Toothbooth in the jungle. Wander obviously going to be on the Yasuo. Danny Quick on the Draven, and you North on the Rakan here for their favorite picks. Honestly, sick team logo. Gryphon, very cool mythical beast. I think it's like, what is it? Eagle, lion, plus some other animal, I believe, that's like fused together. Anyways, it's sick.
This look like a gargoyle. Like a live gargoyle.
Something like that. I think gargoyles are like kind of a different. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You know, the D&D nerd in me wants to explain it, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, regardless, we do have this third and last game coming through. So you bet on Guelph or Gryphon. I bet on McGill. Now, we mentioned kind of like how these teams wanted to play it either way. McGill wants to play a little bit more through side lanes, a little bit more for like early skirmishes and 1v1s. Gryphon probably want to play a lot of these team fights, is going to be my guess. Now, with that being said, it is our last game of the day. I don't know how our round robins are going in general. I'm assuming that, is it like a tally that's like counted at the end of the stream? I'm not exactly sure.
I'm not really sure what's at stake for these teams, at least. We've been paying attention to the games that we've had, so we'll have to see. We'll try and get an update on like what this game means for each team. If someone's like, we need to win or we're eliminated, or if this game's kind of just playing for seeding. Obviously, the last game, 50 minutes. I actually don't know who won the 50-minute game, so yeah, that would be interesting to know. But we will just have to continue to wait until we get into that. But we'd also like to thank our sponsors while we're sitting here. Thanks to BMO for sponsoring this event. They have a student banking plan to help you focus on what's important. BMO has checking and savings accounts, credit cards, and borrowing options that are specifically designed for students. Plus, you get up to 12 months of free Domino's pizza with BMO's current student offers. No monthly plan fees while you're in school. Convenient branch locations close to home and campuses. And unlimited transactions, including interactive transfer transactions, as I mentioned before, as well as the BMO Next Level Twitch, which is live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, run by Sean Frame, which is BMO's gaming relations specialist. They bring a commitment to helping their clients achieve their financial goals, as well as a passion for gaming.
Ooh, let's go Vivo. And then the other sponsor that we do have for today is TELUS. And with their TELUS Arena, which is the best place for Canadian gamers to play, improve their skills through free coaching from pros, or to compete to win thousands of dollars in prizes. Whether you're a casual gamer that's looking to learn, or a pro gamer that's looking to win, there's always a place for you at TELUS Arena. We've got monthly events across a variety of games and gamers. There's always something going on. Make sure to join the TELUS Arena Discord to stay updated on all of their activities.
They're fun events. You should join them. I've played a couple of them. They're fun little events. And I believe that we have actually, that we were going to have a video, but I believe we are going to be getting it very, very shortly. We're just waiting for the remainder of the spectator delay to catch up. Anything, final predictions, final assumptions about the draft before we go in?
Guelph are going to invade level 1, most likely. Or at least look for something with Nautilus.
Probably. Nautilus, yeah. Walk in, hook, try to kill one. Jinx.
Maybe.
Jinx, level 1 Nightmare if you can get the reset off the first kill. So I would not be surprised whatsoever. And it looks like we are going to be getting in for our last game of the day. McGill versus the University of Guelph with McGill on the blue side. And we will definitely be excited for this game. We see all 5 walking. Where is this level invade going to be?
You can see the pings on the minimap there. It looks like Guelph are going to be looking for kind of an invade through mid lane into their topside jungle, is what I'm assuming. Which is it's a kind of like mind game, right? Where you're like, okay, where are they going to go? Now, McGill, they're 5 stacking in their bot side bush, which is also very smart. Counter stacking into a bush when you're playing against one of these hook champions is like a very decent way to play into it. Now, the downside of that, obviously, is that if they're expanding, you can see kind of them spreading around their bot side jungle, checking where they are, is that if you walk into a group of 5 with a Nautilus, then you get hooked and die. But luckily, that's not what Guelph are doing. They're just getting vision in the topside jungle.
No consequences for the invades. The brush stacks will not go anywhere for either side. The resets, Nautilus backing just to get the wards back after having the sweeper. And now we just wait for the minions to start coming in, where we will have to just wait to see how this early game will go.
It is still a little bit of a win for Guelph because they know that the Xin Zhao started in the bot side of their jungle. And it does seem that our predictions were accurate in terms of the lane assignments. It is jungle Jax and Poppy top. So that's going to be something to look out for. The jungle Jax has a little bit of a more safer time scaling up into this game. He, I believe, doesn't particularly win against Zigzao into the early levels, but later on he should be able to at the very least mitigate some of that 1v1 power. Regardless, it is to note that the Pantheon in this top lane, very aggressive setup. Comet Ignite. I think the idea here is, as opposed to PTA, which is kind of the more standard rune setup for Pantheon, is that because Poppy can W your stun and your E, which is where a lot of your all-in power comes from, you go Comet and then you poke her down with Qs, you poke her down with Es, and that's kind of how the matchup goes in this situation. I don't know if it's exactly going to be able to work out, but we will find out. Meanwhile, it does look like junglers here are going to be pathing towards opposite sides of the map, similar to the last game where Jax is pathing towards the bot side and the Xin Zhao is stopping towards the top side.
Yeah, no funny lane swap business that we were seeing in some of the other games. It's just going to be very standard for both teams, keeping to the original lane assignments. I don't think there's really any like beneficial lane swaps you could get out of these for either team. So keeping it standard, keeping things simple. Way is going to have this Akali pushed up the tower, just poking out. Still full health is the way with potions and everything. So healthy prio for the way early game, and this top still is going to be a poke fight, like you were saying, with the Comet. Pantheon wanting to land these Qs as much as possible, get as much damage onto the Poppy, because Poppy is a very tanky champ even with no items.
Indeed. It looks a little bit rough on that top lane so far for the Pantheon. He is running out of mana already, and considering that he doesn't have teleport, this is potentially kind of a losing situation for him here. There is a play to be made now that the red wave is going to be going back towards the blue side, and you see that the Xin Zhao is hovering over the top side. So I think here, McGill, they're looking for some kind of a play onto the top lane. The problem is Feather Slash is just kind of low. I don't think he can actually do that much damage to the Poppy. In fact, Maple Shade is actually taking a good trade here by dashing back in. He could have canceled that, and that would have been even better. But you see that Feather Slash now. He's low HP, doesn't have mana, and doesn't have teleport. Luckily, this wave is shoving into him, so he should be able to just recall and walk back.
He stopped the back, too.
Losing. Yeah, but he will be losing at least some minions for this. Oh,
this is brutal for the Pantheon. This is brutal, because now the timer's going even farther. He's losing these minions.
Yeah, with every second that his base is delayed, he is losing more and more minions. Luckily, this is a cannon wave, so the cannon will tank out most of that tower damage. But he will still be losing, and I don't think he's happy about this situation when you're going Comet Ignite. He's actually going for a tier here, which I, to be honest, have never seen on a Pantheon. I don't think. Maybe it's like some kind of new technology, but I've never seen it before.
Tier and refillable. He just wants to be able to get through lane. He has to use so much mana to be able to push into this Poppy right now that he's just getting tier to try to sustain himself in the lane. And because he keeps getting poked out, he's bought refillables. That's his entire first back.
Yeah, which is not exactly good news when you're playing as the Poppy, who will just be more useful than you in team fights. I think when you're playing Ignite Comet Pantheon, you want to get an early game advantage, but in this case, it's not the case. Regardless, Guelph here, they have priority in the bot lane. They actually don't have prio in mid lane, but maybe they have information on where the Jax is. So they're going for this early game Drake. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, they do have information on where the Jax is thanks to that ward in the Raptor Pit, which is a very, very nice touch. So they'll be able to take this early, very early first dragon. And as the team that is, I would say a little bit outscaled this game. Yeah, you have Senna stacks, but I think the team fighting is just way simpler for Guelph. Going to be very happy with those Drakes.
Yeah, we will just have to see how the Drake stacking. So far, no teams today have really been prioritizing the Drake stacking. Both times, it's kind of just ended up being like 2 or 3 Drakes per team at most. Not a huge amount of priority, but the priority has more so been towards Rift Herald, the little Ed, and Eddie, and Baron as well. And bot side fighting Jinx with the rockets out, getting a lot of damage onto Senna, but Senna under the tower, there's really no threat towards them right now unless Nautilus can land like a max range hook. But with all the minions here now, it's just going to be forcing the backs out of the bot lane. TK does have TP, but the Senna's going to be on a lot longer of a reset, and with them pushed up the tower, it's most likely going to be plates for these Jinx.
Yeah. Not much kill pressure there. She still obviously has like both of her sums. On top of that, she has Fleet and her Q to heal up. Senna is very frustrating to play in kind of these longer lane states because she just has so much sustain in general. And honestly, I think if that hook connected, that's a losing 2v2. So I would actually be happy that that hook didn't connect because I don't think you would that.
Yeah, they actually managed to stay in lane. I thought the back was going to get forced out off of the bot lane of McGill, but apparently they actually managed to sit in her tower, clear of that wave completely, and now it's bounced back into mid lane, or into the middle of the lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Guelph actually did manage to get a recall in, a very decent recall as well, Noon Quiver for the Jinx. I'm assuming they just had like better lane control and they were able to kind of, now they're forcing McGill to stay under their turret. This might also have been in part because of the first dragon there, where Senna kind of helped with the dragon and then went under her turret. As we see, this top lane is really, really rough actually for this Pantheon. I am not sure how bad this matchup is for Pantheon, but so far it looks tremendously bad. As this Senna, remember, has no items, so Guelph are actually looking for a dive here. The teleport is going to come through from the TK. He's level 5. He doesn't have access to the E quite yet. Meanwhile, Zinzao looking for some very nice damage. It's double knockup here as well from the TK. Wander is kind of in the middle of a lot of blue members here. Jax going to be taken down low, stunned. The TK should be able to take him down here. Yeah, he's going to be dead. And meanwhile, on the other hand side is the Jinx that's also going to be taken down by the Akali here. Very good roam from Vestitious, and McGill take the kill advantage.
That was brutal for Guelph. It looked like they had the right, positioning for there, but McGill with the response that goes 3-0, and that's just going to be painful for Guelph.
Yeah, crucially, Vestitious just had the move, I think, a little bit faster. On top of that, I think the play is just a little bit forced. I understand that you want to punish the Senna that has no items at like 7 minutes. Meanwhile, your Jinx is sitting on a Noon Quiver. But realistically, there is just not enough like of a... You don't really have a way to dive her. The Jinx doesn't have that much damage at this point in the game. It's just not really feasible. So it feels like a little bit of an overforce. Guelph will take the L for it. And meanwhile, this top lane is so brutal. The wave state is absolutely terrible for this Pantheon. And the Jax knows it. The Poppy ult is going to come here. He does have the flash. He will be able to flash out. But this is absolute disaster for the Pantheon.
Yeah, the money that this Pantheon had to spend for the tier and the refillables, he does no damage to this Poppy, who's now on a Bommies and a Chain Vest. Like, there's so much just health and armor for this Poppy already. And this tier, yeah, now Pantheon has mana, but to be honest, Pantheon hasn't been able to stay in lane long enough to really have any impact from the tier, which was just 400 gold wasted at this point.
I mean, who knows? Maybe, you know, without the tier, it would have been even worse. So it's hard to tell exactly what the value of it is, but so far, not looking great. As meanwhile on the bot side, Guelph, they have a wave pushing into them, so they'll just be fine. I'm interested to see if they're going to be fighting for this second dragon, though. It looks like the TK ultimate is actually going to be used on this Nautilus, but I don't think if they have the damage to actually finish this kill off. The Pantheon also is going to come through as well. Senna ultimate is going to connect, which means that Nautilus goes down. Another kill going over for McGill, and they should be able to get the dragon off of this as well.
Very well done for McGill. The Sentinel will clean up after the Devour from TK. Very well done, and now they're going to have 4 members on the bot side looking to push the Guelph ADC away from these minions, isolate the Jinx, and stall that scaling. Jax is there to pick up the wave, but you really want this XP and gold for the Jinx right now. That is one of the biggest win conditions for Guelph, and this being stalled, it's now a response 4 versus 4 with one of each sitting in the top lane still. McGill probably wants to disengage here. I don't think either team really wants a fight.
No
but it looks
Devour
like one
available for
might
the TK,
happen.
though. Toothbrush, he's going to just walk into, or Toothbooth, excuse me, is going to walk into this bush. He's looking for a little bit of damage. Danny Quick is already taken down low. Meanwhile, the Xin Zhao is going to be taken down by the unending despair. Wanderer, remember, he gets the resets, but he's out of mana. The Poppy with the teleport, crucially, is here for her team, and it means that Guelph will wipe the floor with McGill and take the second dragon of the game.
3 for 1 is definitely what Guelph is more than happy to take at this point in the game. Very well done for Toothbooth being in the right position to execute with the unending despair, following up with another one at the end. Poppy with the teleport, and just enough to secure. Guelph finds their way back after a little bit of a bad start, and the gold lead's now even at just under 12 minutes into the game. Second Drake is up. If any team wants to cryo it, it is a Cloud Drake, which means no Cloud Soul, and the hook connects. That's going to be a kill. 4 members in the mid lane, and the shutdown goes to the Poppy, who's now at 3 kills. This is going to be a very tanky Poppy to go through.
Oh my lord, the mind control there was crazy. I don't know if you caught that, but the Poppy actually went for a play, E'd in onto a minion, and then used her ultimate to try and get a knock-up, but completely whiffed. And I think Vasticious was confident. I was like, oh, this Poppy just trolled. We can kill her. Walked up, gets hooked, and immediately dies. That was the best mind control I've ever seen in my life. As we're going to be looking for a little bit of a fight here. It looks like Hazur will be able to take the last 2 grubs. Danny Cook will be forced to flash over the wall. Yeah, so it's going to be 4 grubs for 2. Guelph will get like a little bit of the bonus, but McGill will be able to deny it. Crucially, the Drake actually did not go down off of that previous play because the Jax was dead. So Guelph didn't. They decided not to flip it. They instead went for waves and mid prio. So this Drake is still up. I'm curious to see what the soul will be this game. If it is not a Chemtech soul, it can be a Cloud Soul since we have a Cloud Drake here. McGill could be potentially looking at a Dragon Soul win condition. If it's not, if it is a Chemtech, then Guelph are going to be very happy with this. Well, it looks like they're going to be able to take the second dragon regardless.
I think I'd like to see for either team, I'd like to see an Infernal Soul heal. I mean, really, Infernal or Ocean would both be fine here. So I guess anything that isn't Chemtech, yeah, would be good for either team. It is going to be 1-1 for the Drake, so no heavy stacking. We'll have to see what the Soul is in just a second, and it's Hextech. So that is, well, going to be okay. Yeah, I feel like that's more beneficial to Guelph for the side of like just Jax having the that grants ability haste, correct? I'm not mistaken by that, or am I?
It grants ability haste, attack speed, and effectively a static shiv with a slow on it. It is effectively the most powerful soul in the game, more or less.
I forget what the single Drakes give. I was forgetting what Hextech gives for single Drakes.
Ability haste and attack speed, yeah. It is a very strong soul. The dragons themselves are not bad in terms of stacking as well. As looking for the 1v1 here, but the shuriken flip completely misses and gets cancelled by the fear the R2. Beautifully played by Toothbooth. Very clean micro.
Yeah, the ult burn from Macaulay. It's on cooldown now. Very well done from Toothbooth to stay alive. It could have been a threat, and Poppy's under the tower. Manages to continue to pressure the Pantheon. Now 3 versus 1. Poppy has no way out. Gonna flash. Burns the flash anyways. Still alive somehow. No idea how Poppy manages to live that long. As I was saying, it's going to be a very tanky Poppy, but the shutdown does go into the hands of Senna, which is probably the worst case scenario for Guelph.
Yeah, this might seem like a minor mistake to kind of overextend and go for this kill, but it is actually really, really bad. The Senna just got injected so much gold off of the back of that shutdown. On top of that, McGill potentially be able to claim this Rift Herald off of that death. Looks like the TK here will be taking some damage. The Unending Despair, though, why are you walking into that? That's not very good. Senna is going to be eaten by the Time Catch, though. Going to be able to survive. The Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't claim a kill quite yet. Vasticious going to be the first one to draw blood in this teamfight. Tooth Boot, though, he will be dying as well. Guelph overextend their hand. They took the bait, and they got reeled in all the way. McGill will be able to take the Rift Herald.
McGill turned that beautifully. The Pantheon ultimate, realistically, every ultimate comes in to keep everybody alive, and 3-for-0 with the Rift Herald. That's a great lead for McGill. They're going to be very happy with this. Now up to 2k gold lead with a 4k kill advantage. What was kind of just the lead for the Poppy is being neutralized more and more after the shutdown onto the Senna, and the Jinx yet to be truly activated in this game. If we can get later, Hui did go Archangel's Staff first, so we'll have to see when that maxes out. Just 40 more stacks before that will max out the tier. And when this Jinx gets unlocked in the late game, I think that's what Guelph is just kind of waiting for. They're going to have a very tanky Poppy for the front line with Nautilus, and if Jackson get on the back and just isolate the carries of McGill, as long as the Jinx can stay alive, there is a lot of damage that they can put out.
Indeed. The one problem that Guelph have is the Senna. She is starting to be a problem, as the Super Mega Death Rocket almost hits from across the map, but not quite. As this Poppy is really hard to move. It looks like a little bit of a unmovable object. Is that the correct term?
Movable object, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. The unstoppable force of the Senna hasn't been unlocked quite yet, though. The stacks still need to be unlocked a little bit more here. As Maple Shade, he should just be able to really walk up this turret. Yeah, with the passive and the demolish is going to be able to just claim that turret. It is a very interesting game just because of how ahead this Poppy is. The question is, can Senna shred through this Poppy before Jinx gets a reset and eventually overtakes the team fights? If I'm Senna right now, I want to get an LDR so bad. I think LDR is like a must this game. So far, it looks like she's going to be going for a rapid fire cannon instead, which is not bad. I just think LDR is completely needed, but maybe even second item. Regardless, McGill here, they're sitting on a little bit of a gold lead. They've got a Senna stacking. They're comfortable waiting to the later stages of the game. The only question I have is, how do we kill this Jinx?
Yeah, and I think it's going to have to be a play from the Akali. Akali is in a pretty healthy spot right now. Lichbane completed, looking for second item with the Sork's boots already. It's a lot of damage they can put out, and Jinx is very, very squishy. It's going to have to be a perfect execution, no pun intended, from the Akali, probably to lock down this Jinx and just execute her before the fight happens. But there's a lot that she's going to have to go through first.
Oh, yeah. It's, have you ever watched, like, those, slightly unrelated, have you ever watched those, like, Mr. Beast videos where, like, someone has to defend, like, a car from, like, 10,000 bullets or some stuff like that?
Specifically a video where it was defending, like, a thing of money, or, like, a vault of money from, like, tank shots. Yes, I've seen those videos.
Yeah, so that's basically what's happening on Gulf. They're building their defense against this Akali. They're like, you will not touch our Jinx. And their defense is pretty good. It's a Hui that has a Fear, that has a bunch of like crowd control and zone control. It's a Poppy that has a W. It's a Jax that has an E. It's a Nautilus that has a bunch of stuff. So this is like a Protect the President type composition from Guelph at this point. The Akali is a big bullet though. Like it is a 50 cal. You know, it is one big machine gun. So if it gets past those, you know, cartons of water or whatever it may be, it is going to be a very, very easy headshot onto the Jinx. The question is, can they get past that is really what we're looking out for. McGill, though, they will be able to take their second drink of the game, the Hextech that we mentioned before. Looks like Guelph, though, might be looking for a little bit of a fight here. No, okay, we're going to be okay so far. Look out for that top side as well. Looks like Poppy is pressuring this tier 2. is going to get collapsed on here. Has to be a little bit careful. He's going to look for the fight, but the Xin Zhao is collapsing. My question is, do they have enough time to kill this Poppy before the rest of the team collapses? It's a red side teleport as well to defend. I think blue here is a little bit overextended. McGill, what are you doing? This Poppy is not killable, and the president is untouched, baby. Reset number 1, reset number 2 about to appear. Look for the Pantheon as well. Why the hell would you not? The stun does a lot of damage. No wonder you went a little bit too far. It realistically doesn't matter that much, but tier 2 will be going down, and Guelph will be claiming their first tier 2, while Vasticious is going to trade it in the bottom side of the map.
Optical illusion there, where it looked like that one Pantheon ability just went 100 to like 10 health on the Jinx. I thought that that was one ability, and the tower shots, I didn't realize Jinx was taking tower as well. Overall, McGill definitely overstays the welcome, and Poppy does super well to stall out that fight. Now sitting at 6-1, backing, about to have a second item, Frozen Heart. This Poppy just got so much harder to kill. Everybody on this team, with the exception of Akali, is going to have, even Akali is going to have a hard time, but there's so much armor and there's so much AD threats for McGill. How do you get through this Poppy?
That's a very good question, and I don't have an answer for you. It's pretty much what I've got prepared. LDR on setup, 3 items, 200 stacks, maybe, as the Pantheon is going to be able to survive here. He should be completely fine. But until that point where you unlock more items for the Senate to really, really, you know, unlock a lot of the damage potential that you've got against this Poppy, it's going to be really tough. 6-1 on the Poppy, my oh my. The red side picks, the R5s so far in these last 3 games have been so crucial to every single draft. The Gwen last time was absolutely immortal. This Poppy is looking about the same level of immortal. As you can see, a bunch of blue side pings here going down on the Baron. They're scared that Guelph might actually be looking for some kind of a Baron play. Their Baron is pretty fast. They have, you know, a Nautilus and a Jax to tank it, and the Jinx with the Kraken Slayer can do it relatively fast, but it doesn't look like they're going to pull the trigger on it quite yet. But it is something McGill have to keep their eye on.
Yeah, and as we continue to get into the later stages of the game, while the gold is nearly dead even, I think we can safely say that there is a lead on the side of the Guelph Griffins, just because, holy, I did not realize how bad it was. That is a 3,300 gold lead for the Poppy over Pantheon, and it's actually significant to notice where the gold is distributed, because even though there's a 3.3k gold lead, it is completely even solely because of the bot lane for McGill, where yes, Jinx is ahead of Senna, but this TK is almost the second highest for gold value, doing very well farming with this Senna, keeping both of the bot lane members in the game. But I think realistically, as long as this Jinx can continue to scale, Renan's is now finished, and that's such a big power spike for Jinx into these team fights. With such a beefy front line, they're going to have to find a way onto Jinx. I just don't see a way how.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where Senna TK just generate more gold by just simply existing, since Senna can farm souls that offer her gold. And TK can farm, so it's kind of like they're cheating a little bit. It's kind of like when you have like TF or GP on your team and you have a little bit more gold, you just generate more gold by existing. But it is still notable, as you said, that despite the fact that this Poppy is ahead, that the gold difference overall is not that big. But again, it's the gold difference not being that big is not necessarily a good thing, because this Poppy is still at 3 items, as Vasticious here might be looking to be ganked. Gonna be able to find the stun. Super Mega Death Rocket as well. Nice damage. They might actually be looking to finish this kill off. Very nice combo with the Poppy ultimate with the snipe from the Hui. Means that this kill is secured. The Akali is down, and this should be a free dragon for Guelph.
Yeah, McGill going to try to respond with the mid-tier 2, but I think Guelph is happy to take this Drake, and even then they can just leave Jax. It looks like they want to collapse. The tower will be taken. It is going to be a 4 versus 4. Jax coming late. Nautilus is here. Ultimate drop, knocks up 2. It's going to be a lot of damage for the side of Guelph. They do get into the backline a little bit, but Wander is still free firing. The Jinx gets the first reset. 2 have already dropped, and the Renan's rockets are going through. Another kill for Hui. It's more resets. Wow, the range on this Jinx is just incredible. And that is 3 kills for Guelph.
This is the same situation that we had last game where one team gets picked off, they decide to trade the Dragon for mid-tier 2, and they don't respect the team fight that follows. Now, the difference is that here, Guelph are actually way more than strong enough to be able to take this Baron regardless of what's cooldowns they use to get that team fight in a numbers advantage as well. So they'll be able to claim the Baron on top of the team fight. And this is really where I think the ease of execution comes into play. It is so much harder for the Akali to get onto the backline than it is for Jinx and the rest of the Guelph team to play front to back, to protect the President, get their first Jinx reset, and play from there. The worst part about this all is that Wander doesn't have a single kill. He's not even that fed, and yet the team fights are already this one-sided.
Yeah, just Jinx existing for so long, being able to farm 210 CS.
Oh, that is evil. Maple, that itemization is absolutely evil. Can we get a hover on the Akali? I just want to check something.
Is that Anathema's chains?
Yep, Anathema's chains on Akali. Akali is the only threat to your Jinx, and Maple just made it extra hard for McGill to do anything about it. On top of that, the TK is already dead, so you can't even protect your Senna anymore. With the Baron down, Guelph could just look for an end. There's really not that much that McGill can do here. Jinx will absolutely demolish these towers, and remember that with every single tower that she takes, that's another stack of Excited. Vesticious notices that he has a little bit of an opening here to try and look for the Quake. He doesn't have his Zonias available. It's going to be a shutdown. The Zonias for the Akali is going to be popped. The Stricken flip does some nice damage, but it's not going to get her out of trouble. And now Guelph, they're in a similar situation. The numbers haven't changed. They're going to be looking for the Pantheon here. He's overextended. He's stunned. He's going to be invulnerable for just a little bit more time. But I don't know if it's far enough. Another slash. Wander is actually just walking past the turret, trying to look for the kill. The Poppy is looking for it. The TK respawns just in time to be able to save him. The hook doesn't matter. It looks like the inhibitor is about to go down. Remember, every single time one of these things goes down, Jinx gets excited, gets another reset. They might just be looking to push for the end here. The first Nexus turrets is already going down. The Pantheon ultimate hits absolutely nothing. That's the front line of Guelph. The Jinx is still invulnerable. No one is hitting the President. She's on the back line. Finally, the Xin Zhao gets on top of her. Mr. President is about to die. Or is he? Wander finally being taken down. It's the shutdown going over to the Senna, and Guelph have overplayed their hand. Mr. President has gone down. Poppy is still alive, but she should be able to finally die. And McGill might have opened a window back into this game.
That was a lot of shutdowns for the side of McGill. The gold is still in the favor of Guelph because of all those towers. But that was a lot of shutdowns onto a lot of key members. Everybody on the side of McGill is sitting about even footing right now. And if Guelph misplays like that one more time, there's seriously a way back in for McGill.
Okay. Please build Lord Dominic's regards. Senna, I beg you. Save us, Senna. Please, Lord Dominic's regards immediately. If I'm Wander right now, by the way, I am so pissed by the fact that I have as much assists as my support. As Nautilus support. That is such a crime. But regardless, as you said, that was such a close team fight. But Guelph, I think, critically, they overextend just a little bit, and they leave an opening for the Xin Zhao to be able to get on top of the Jinx. In these team fights, you have to be super careful about how you use your cooldowns, because once those cooldowns are down, as the bodyguards for this Jinx, the enemy can actually get onto your backline at that point. I remember, you know what, I'm not going to get into it. Realistically, this game is still very difficult for McGill to win, but now they do have a little bit more of an advantage, and thank God the Senna did actually go for the last Whisper there. LDR will be unlocked soon enough, but meanwhile, Wander is still on 3 items, and he actually has the last Whisper unlocked. With this Dragon, this might just open the game. If McGill decide to fight this Dragon, which they don't have to, but I think that they will, this could be the end of the game.
Yeah, it's either going to be a team fight ace that goes for Guelph and Guelph ends the game, or if McGill can manage to get the Drake, it leaves the Soul open for a win condition for McGill. This game is still very close, despite the fact that we obviously have the turbo scaling Jinx, but the longer it goes on, the harder it gets. Akali's going to be swallowed, but still locked down, both of them. Zonia's popped, but I don't think Akali can get out. Buffered off of the ult, and that is going to be 2 kills, and already, as we said, this fight might just be the end of the
Nice
game
W.
for Guelph, and I think we are about to see it happen.
Nice W there. Finds the Senna as well. It doesn't matter. Danny quick flashes over the wall. Okay, that was just completely ends. I think that was a little bit of a fun moment. They will be able to find a counter engage, though, off of that kill. The Zinzao, though, pops the ultimate is surviving for now. The Pantheon is very low. The Q will heal him just a little bit, but it won't help him survive. The snipe from the Gui is absolutely demonic, and it's only the Zinzao left alive. The Jinx is still there to take down the turret.
Jinx gonna end with 0 kills.
Jinx might just end this game with 0 kills, baby. Oh,
no,
never
we got
mind. One kill. Okay, let's go. We're on the board. Wander is right here. McGill have a last defense, but it is nothing against the Demolition Experts to protect the VIP comp from Guelph. Laser turret be damned. It does not matter. Poppy ultimate right into the air. Bungie for the fun of it, as Guelph will be able to take our final game of the day. GG, well played.
On paper, that was a pretty close game up until it wasn't. As we said, Jinx getting to exist, they just came from a very close game last time, McGill. Jinx was not going to let it get to that point. Just off as soon as that Renans came through and these team fights kept on happening and happening. Jinx being untouched with such a beefy frontline, very well played by Poppy, by the way, both in lane and all of those fights to keep their team alive. That was very, very well done in that top lane matchup against Pantheon as well. There's really just nothing McGill could have done to touch that Jinx, and Jinx being Jinx, that was doomed at about 25 minutes.
Pretty much. This is kind of the story of these last two games. R5 is OP. You get your counter pick, you get your top lane counter pick. They choose the most demonic champ possible. In this case, it was Poppy. Before that, it was Gwen. And all of a sudden, your draft just transforms. And it was wonderful to see. I think, Poppy played this extremely well. I think we kind of could tell in draft already what this game was going to be about. And as soon as we saw the Poppy just absolutely demolish the Pantheon in his top lane, I felt like this game was just kind of over from that. Like, it was so hard. You could see there was one play in mid where Akali was like looking for an angle onto the Jinx, and Poppy literally just like triangulated her position in between like Akali and Jinx, and was just stood in front of her. And you could see the Akali in her shroud just going like trying to look for something, and there's just nothing to be done. So yeah, very, very difficult game to play there from McGill. I think the draft was really, really difficult. Gryphon, Guelph, well played on the draft, well played on the field as well. That was a clean game and a very entertaining one at that. That being said, that was the last game of today. Now, before we leave you guys, remember there is a giveaway happening. So if you want to get onto that, you have to go to the other stream, the first stream, and you can type in, I believe it was like exclamation mark, no,
TIE 2024.
That thing.
Exclamation mark TIE 2024 in the mainstream, which is Canadian Intercollegiate X. If you have trouble understanding how to spell that off of my name or what I just said, it should be the name of this account you're watching on right now, slightly different. Head over there, join the giveaway there, and also thank you to our sponsors once again, the lovely sponsors of this event. BMO, student banking plan to help you focus on what's important. They have checking, savings accounts, credit cards, borrowing options designed specifically for students, and you get 12 months of free Domino's pizza. As we said before, who doesn't love pizza, especially when it's free? No monthly plan fees while you're in school and up to a year after you graduate, with convenient locations close to campus and unlimited transactions, including Interac e-transfers. BMO is perfect for any students looking for banking offers. And BMO Next Level Twitch as well, live every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, run by Sean Frame, BMO's gaming relations specialist, commitment to bringing their clients' financial goals and a passion for gaming as an active member of the gaming community.
Thank you, BMO. On top of that, tell us as well as the other sponsor of today. Check out their arena. They've got a bunch of stuff there. And join the TELUS Discord if you wish. Now, that being said, that was it for me. I wouldn't be able to cast any of the other games because I do have classes, unfortunately. But thank you so much for joining us. Boys, do you have anything to shout out?
Come back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. You'll see me back tomorrow. I'll be casting with my good friend Melon from Fanshawe College. We'll both be bringing it back. I haven't casted with him. He was the first person I ever casted League with like a year and a half ago, so it's going to be nice to cast with him again. But that is it for us tonight. No more games. I believe the Overwatch stream is still going on. I don't know if we're going to raid it, but head over there. Go keep an eye out. Remember to join that giveaway as we just mentioned. Go show them some support until those games are over. If you're looking for more League of Legends, make sure you come back tomorrow. I believe both channels will have games going on. So just come back tomorrow. Boys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been awesome to come back to the cast. Natural, thank you so much for casting with me. It's been an honor, man.
No worries. If you like my casting, just follow me on Twitter or on Twitch or something. Anyways, thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
When I first heard about the TELUS esports series, I was like, there's no way.
I was absolutely stoked.
You don't really hear about esports at all in Canada, let alone from a big company like TELUS.
Canada does have a scene, and we do have people who are thriving towards getting us into that bigger picture.
2 versus 1, and it should be their game. The Bronze Bonobos from second, now finally find first.
Simply put, the TELUS esports series is esports for everyone. It's our take of what we think the esports industry should look like and where we think it should go. It's way more fun to compete for something when there's something on the line. And the TELUS esports series gives players of all skill levels opportunities to experience that. We really want to make the gaming experience more fun for everyone, and we want to help the gaming industry evolve and grow the way that it should. And I think the time is right for it.